I've been itching to take this challenge ever since I heard about it. By the way, since I'm a hardcore Naruhina fan, this will be a Naruhina fanfic? DUH. Well, that's enough of my rambling. Start the FIC. Disclaimer. If I owned Naruto, would I be writing this? Obviously not. Talking. Thinking. Emphasis on certain words. Inner, that little voice inside your head. No, not like a bijou inside a Jinchuriki. Talking. Inner thinking. Demon or evil voice talking. Demon or evil voice thinking. Author talking. Naruto, Life of a Shy Jinchuriki. Chapter 1. An Undeserved Beating. Warning. This chapter contains a beating that some. I've tried to tone this beating down without taking away from the desired effect. I will indicate when it will start, so that any readers who despise that kind of this or are at least a little squeamish will be able to skip it if they want to. Remember, I hated having to write said beating, but you guys need to get a good idea about why Naruto's gonna be so shy. Please forgive me. It was a calm, serene in the village of Konoha. A night that just makes you want to lie down and look at the stars. Many people were enjoying this wonderful evening, but one of the select few who wasn't was an 8-year-old boy in an orange jumpsuit who was hiding in some bushes in the park. This boy's name is Naruto Uzumaki, the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Kitsune. Naruto had ocean blue eyes, blonde spiky hair, and 3 whisker marks on either cheek. When he was sure it was safe and that he'd lost his pursuers, he climbed out of the bushes and made his way home. He was halfway there, but when he turned a corner, there it is. You won't get away this time, you little monster, one of the villagers yelled when he saw Naruto. Naruto had accidentally turned onto one of the few streets in the village that was busy at night. As soon as Naruto heard the man yell, due to being chased down and beaten by the villagers for most of his life, was extremely timid and practically afraid of his own shadow. So, seeing all the villagers turn their attention towards him and glare at him with their eyes full of anger, hatred, and grief, terrified him beyond rational thought. Naruto's eyes, out of fear, grew as large as dinner plates when he saw them look at him. At first, Naruto was too scared to move. But then, as the angry villagers all began to walk towards Naruto, he turned tail and ran like hell, fearing for his life. Why do they always hurt me? What did I do to deserve this? Thought the frightened blonde, that's right, he even stutters in his thoughts. As soon as Naruto started to run, the villagers start to chase after Naruto with. He turned corner after corner, trying to lose them. But, eventually, Naruto ran inside an alley and hit a dead end. With nowhere to run and nowhere to hide, he turned around and saw a small mob of villagers blocking his only escape route. Naruto backed up until he hit the wall behind him, afraid beyond imagination. As the villagers stepped closer, Naruto had only one thought running through his young mind. T there G going to KK kill me T this tea time. Beating starts. Just as this thought crossed Naruto's mind, a kunai knife was thrown by one of the shinobi in the crowd and embedded itself in Naruto's left shoulder. Unprepared for this, would you be? No? Didn't think so. Naruto fell backwards and landed on his ass while letting out a loud cry of pain. As he tried to stand, he attempted to remove the kunai. While he was doing this, one of the villagers walked up to Naruto and kicked him in the gut. Hard. Then, that same villager grabbed Naruto by the scruff of his shirt, brought him up to eye level, and let him go, punching him in the face during his descent. As soon as the punch made contact with Naruto's face, it busted his lip and sent him flying into the crowd. You won't escape this time, you demon brat, one of the villagers in the crowd shouted. Surrounded, with no hope of escape, and with a busted bleeding lip, Naruto started to panic. He looked around for some gap in the crowd that he could run through to escape, but to no avail. Why are why you doing this to me? Naruto asked with tears in his eyes. Why? Why? You know damn well why, you little beast. You took a lot of people we cared about away from us. Now you gonna pay, shouted one of the villagers, throwing a bottle at Naruto. The thrown bottle made contact with Naruto's head, leaving a gash on the back of his head. The villagers then started to close in on Naruto and beat him within an inch of his life. They cut, beat, and stabbed him repeatedly until he was a mass of bruises and small shallow cuts, some of them actually overlapping. Throughout the entire beating, Naruto was screaming in agony, begging them to stop. Then, as Naruto wearily tried to stand, one of the shinobi villagers then kicked Naruto in the face, knocking him flat on his back. The villager then drew his katana from its sheath on his back and was about to stab Naruto in the heart with it, until, "Hold it right there," he heard four irate voices shout. They all turned around and saw a sight that truly terrified them. In a nearby bar, a few minutes earlier, Chusa Akimichi, Shikaku Nara, Inoichi Yamanaka, and Tsum Inuzuka with Kuramaru, that big wolf-like dog with an eye patch over one eye that she had with her during the leaf destruction. Yeah, that one. Waiting outside, of course, were sitting at a table in their favorite bar drinking when they heard a child cry in pain. Upon hearing the sound, they all jumped to their feet. "Did you guys hear that?" Tsum asked her three old friends. "Yeah," the other three replied. "I'll go get some ANBU. You guys find out what's happening and try to stop it," Tsum told them. "All right," the three all replied. They then rushed towards the source of the sound. When the trio finally made it to the source of the sound, Tsum arrived with the ANBU. They couldn't see through the crowd, but could tell that the child's screams were coming from the center. Then Tsum, in a shocked tone and disgusted tone, exclaimed, "I smell blood." Everyone who heard her had the same thoughts running through their heads. That child's cries of pain are coming from the center, and Tsum/Lady Inuzuka smells of blood. Could they actually be? Note: honorifics are not necessary to add if you are friendly with or are close friends with the individual. The crowd then shifted slightly, just enough for them to, for a mere second, see that the villagers were beating a blonde spiky-haired boy in a torn, blood-stained orange and blue jumpsuit. "Naruto-kun," the four clan heads exclaimed. Having been close, personal friends of the Yondaime Hokage, aka Minato Namikaze, aka Naruto's dad, the four were outraged to find these villagers trying to beat him to death. "Hold it right there," the four shouted irate clan heads shouted. The crowd of villagers turned around and saw the looks on the faces of the four clan heads. All four of them were angry enough to make Orochimaru shit himself and emitting enough Ki, killer intent, to bring a demon to heal. "What are you doing?" the four of them shouted. Gulp. We're finishing what the Yondaime Hokage s started. One of the villagers stuttered out, about ready to crap herself. Finishing what the Yondaime Hokage started? Finishing what the Yondaime Hokage started? All you're doing is beating a poor, defenseless child to death. You knowing violated the Sandaime Hokage's law to not attack the boy without provocation. Because of a pitiful excuse like that, shouted Chusa. Yes. The villagers all said. "Do you remember what the Hokage said the punishment for breaking that law would be?" asked Shikaku coldly. Gulp. No. "You'll find out soon enough," Inoichi said in an irate tone that was dripping with venom. "Deliver their punishment." Tsum spat out with venom dripping from every syllable. Then the ANBU started to punish the villagers, and when I say punish, I mean kill. While this happened, the four clan heads quickly made their way to Naruto. When they got to him, they started to feel guilty about not arriving sooner. Naruto was pale, covered in cuts and bruises, and looked like he had one foot in the grave. "Chusa, Shikaku, Inoichi, I'll take the boy to the hospital," Tsum exclaimed, picking up the bloodied and apparently half-dead boy. "Why you, Tsum?" asked Inoichi. "Isn't it obvious? Even if it's just barely," Tsum's the fastest out of the four of us, said Shikaku. At that, Kuramaru let out a low growl. Sorry. I mean, she's one of the fastest out of the five of us, Shikaku said. Very well. Tsum, you and Kuramaru get Naruto-kun to the hospital as fast as you possibly can. We'll get the Hokage and meet you there, said Inoichi. Then they all headed out. Tsum and Kuramaru ran towards the hospital as fast as they possibly could, which is pretty damn fast, considering Tsum's likely rank as a Jounin and the Inuzuka clan's techniques, while Shikaku, Inoichi, and Chusa ran to get the Hokage. Naruto, Life of a Shy Jinchuriki. Chapter 2, Friends and Bad News. Running as fast as she could and ignoring the pain in her protesting legs, Tsum could only focus on getting the half-dead son of her two deceased friends to the hospital as fast as possible. Completely disregarding the questioning looks on the faces of the villagers, she and Kuramaru passed them. The two of them kept running until they reached the hospital. Tsum ran straight towards the doors with only one thought running through her mind. If I don't get Naruto-kun there soon, it may be too late. As soon as she and Kuramaru made it to the hospital entrance, they practically broke the doors down as they rushed through them, with Tsum ignoring the physical pain it caused her to just run through them without opening them first. Tsum then sprinted to the front desk and said to the receptionist, "Huff, Huff, I need a doctor now." The receptionist then looked from the frantic Inuzuka woman to the child she was holding and scowled. "I'm sorry, Lady Inuzuka, but all the doctors are busy right now," the receptionist said without even bothering to check. Kuramaru growled low in his throat at this. Tsum then stated, "You didn't even check. I'm sorry, but dash." Tsum interrupted the woman by grabbing her by the collar of her buttoned-up shirt and said in a menacing tone, "Listen up and listen good, you lying bitch. You had better get a doctor over here now to treat this poor boy, or I will personally drag you to the blackest part of hell and back again. Got that?" The frightened woman then left as fast as she could and, within minutes, came back with a doctor. The doctor then looked at Tsum and said, "Yes, Lady Inuzuka. Who do you need me to dash?" He cut off as soon as he looked into her arms and saw Naruto. He then looked back up at Tsum and said, "I'm sorry, Lady Inuzuka, but I cannot treat this B-dash. Stop right there. You, along with some medical ninja, will treat this boy and I'll do it now. Or do you want to be the one to explain to the Hokage why you refuse to treat a dying, innocent child?" Tsum shouted, completely irate and out for blood, with Kuramaru growling and snarling at the doctor. The doctor, being afraid not only of the livid feral woman and large snarling wolf dog in front of him, but of the Hokage's wrath as well, agreed to treat the boy and found some medical ninja that were also willing to treat the boy. Then they got to work. Meanwhile, in the Hokage's office, Hiruzen Sarutobi was almost done with a stack of paperwork he was working on, when the exhausted Ino-Shikacho trio burst into his office, with grim looks on their faces and looking like they just run a marathon while going at top speed the whole way. "Inoichi-san? Shikaku-san? Chusa-san, what's going on?" the aged Hokage asked. At the same time, the three panting men all said, "Naruto, huff, villagers, huff, hospital." That was all they needed to say. At this, Sarutobi's eyes grew wide with concern. He then abandoned his paperwork and ran towards the hospital at a speed that was both ridiculous and impossible for a man his age. Minutes later at the hospital, while Naruto's getting treated for his injuries, Tsum and Kuramaru were both pacing back and forth in obvious worry. The amount of time that she lost forcing the receptionist to get one of the doctors and forcing said doctor to treat Naruto may have caused the treatment to start too little, too late. Just as she began to think this, the Hokage burst into the waiting area outside the ER and asked, in a frantic and worried voice, "Tsum-san, is Naruto-kun all right?" "I'm not sure yet. I'm sorry, Lord Hokage," said Tsum in a slightly depressed tone. 2 hours later, the doctor finally walked out of the ER with a scowl on his face. It was obvious he wasn't happy about something. "Well, how is he?" Sarutobi asked the doctor. The boy will be fine. He's merely unconscious, unfortunately. We're just going to move him to one of the rooms," the doctor said, whispering the word, "unfortunately." The doctor and nurses then proceeded to move Naruto into one of the hospital rooms without waking him up or reopening his wounds. "Oh, thank Kami," the worried Hokage and 4 clan heads all said. "Because the boy heals much quicker than normal people, we merely had to pick the glass shards out of his head wound, then accelerate his healing process with some medical ninjutsu. However, he should remain here until we can be completely sure he's recovered," the doctor told them. "That a acceptable doctor? Wait, glass shards?" Sarutobi asked. Yes, there were shards of glass in the wound on the back of his head. One of the villagers that attacked him must have hit him with a bottle or something, the doctor said. This thoroughly angered the 5 worried adults. Sarutobi then left some trustworthy ANBU and went back to his paperwork. The 4 clan heads were walking home discussing what had happened. They all agreed to meet up together the next day with another old friend of theirs to discuss some things related to Naruto's future. The next day, at the academy. The children were all heading towards the academy. Many were excited about what they might learn today, others were impatient to get it over with. But the general thought running through their heads was this: I am one step closer. Closer to what, you might ask? Closer to achieving their individual goals. Let us now turn our attention to 4 of these students in particular. The 4 had one thing in common. Their parents were old friends. The first of the 4 was a brown-haired, feral-looking boy who had a small white puppy sitting on his head. The second was a pudgy boy with swirl marks on each cheek. The third looked about as lazy as a sloth and had long jet-black hair in a pineapple ponytail haircut. The fourth was a tall, at least for an 8-year-old, pale-skinned, stoic boy with dark bushy brown hair. The feral-looking boy was Kiba Inuzuka, and the puppy on his head was his partner Akamaru. The pudgy boy was Chuji Akimichi. The lazy boy with the pineapple haircut was Shikamaru Nara. And last, but not least, the tall stoic boy was Shino Aburame. Naturally, since their parents knew each other, the boys had already spent a lot of time together and were good friends. By the way, Shikamaru, Chuji, and Kiba are wearing the clothes they had on in Naruto's flashback in chapter 154, while Shino's wearing a smaller version of the outfit he wears in the first half of the manga. Couldn't think of anything else. The 4 friends met up just outside their classroom. "Hey guys, looks like we're all here," said Kiba. "Not quite, Kiba-san," said Shino. "Wada mean Shino?" asked Kiba, looking a little confused. "Shino's right, Kiba. Naruto's missing," Chuji asked while snacking on a bag of potato chips. Kiba looked around and saw that they were right. "Ha! Hey, you're right. Where the hell is he?" Kiba asked with concern. Ever since the 4 of them first met Naruto, he'd become a good friend of theirs. The shy boy had become like something of a little brother to the 4 of them. "Man, Kiba. Sometimes you miss the obvious so much it's troublesome. Take a wild guess." "While I am also concerned for Naruto-san, I believe we should be going inside now," said Shino in his stoic tone of voice. "Why?" asked Kiba. His 3 friends looked at him like he'd asked if the sky was blue. Then Shino said, "Because I don't want to believe Irika-sensei will approve of us being tardy, even if we had a valid reason." Later, at the start of class, an irate Irika, covered in fecal matter and red paint, burst through the door and screamed, "All right, who's the wise guy who filled the teacher's lounge with paint and dog crap?" The students all just snickered, trying to hold in their laughter. But then, suddenly, Kiba just burst out laughing. He was rolling on the ground and was laughing so hard that he could barely breath. "Kiai Ibabea, it was you? Wasn't it?" Arika yelled. You know that big-headed yell thing he did to Naruto in the series after that sexy jutsu transformation. That's how he yelled at Kiba. "Okay, I know what it looks like, but it wasn't me," Kiba exclaimed after he stopped laughing. At this, Irika, thinking that Kiba was trying to put one over on him, started turning red in the face and could barely form a proper sentence. You, detention, after class, today, he stammered out angrily. Aw man, Kiba groaned. During all this, Chuji was snaking on another bag of chips and Shikamaru was sawing logs. Irika yelled at the top of his lungs, freaking out the entire class and startling Shikamaru awake. What is it, Irika-sensei? The still sleepy Nara asked lazily. That's it. You two are joining Inuzuka San in detention today, Irika yelled. When Irika said this, one thought was running through the two boys' heads. Damn it, Kiba. While Kiba had one thought running through his mind. I'm gonna find the person who did this and punch him in the neck. After Irika calmed down, he took attendance. When he reached Naruto's name, he called out for the shy and timid you boy, but there was no answer. He tried a few more times, but not a peep. This worried Irika because even though Naruto didn't talk much, he always spoke when spoken to or when called on. It was still barely audible, but he still responded. Irika then looked up and peered around the classroom, but couldn't find any sign of the abused and tortured young Jinchuriki. This made Irika worry even more. I hope something didn't happen to him, Irika thought. Class, has anyone seen Naruto today? The scarred Chunin asked with concern dripping from his every word. The students were all talking amongst themselves when, who gives a shit about that neglected little wuss? I say that this class would be a lot better off if that timid dobe loser would just disappear. Even if there was a slim chance that he could become a shinobi, having neglected Naruto on the front lines would start to give all of Konoha's real shinobi a bad name. I mean, seriously, what kind of shinobi, even if he's just a shinobi in training, can't even speak up, perform any basic exercises, or even stick up for himself? If you ask me, someone who doesn't even have the guts to look you in the eye when they talk to you is nothing more than a scared, weak, pathetic little coward who shouldn't even think about becoming a ninja. Sasuke Uchiha said, throwing out more and more insults about his favorite target as he continued talking. Because of how much Sasuke got compared to his brother growing up, he developed a bit of an inferiority complex, even though he never let anyone see said complex. He'd hoped that, when he started the academy, people would stop comparing him to Itachi. But it actually got worse because he had more people comparing him to his big brother. So, as an outlet for the negative emotions he had built up inside him, and so that he could believe that he's as superior as he acts like he is, he became a bit of a bully. His main target became none other than our favorite Jinchuriki, Naruto Uzumaki. A lot of other kids, mainly fangirls and kids who got treated similarly to Sasuke, started following his lead and began to bully Naruto as well. As Sasuke said this, many of the students in the class nodded their heads in agreement. However, Irika, as well as 6 students, care to guess which ones? All wanted to knock the last Uchiha's teeth down his throat as soon as he started talking. Shut the hell up, Sasuke. Kiba, Chuji, Shikamaru, and even Shino shouted, ready to tear the young Uchiha to pieces. Why should I? Sasuke asked with a smug, sadistic smirk. 'Cause it's 4-on-1. Shikamaru started, glaring at Sasuke. Which makes it illogical for you to not back down, Shino stated with a weird, buzzing sound coming from him. And if you're not careful, Chuji began. You're gonna get hurt, Kiba continued. Kutsi of our fists hitting your face, the 4 of them yelled. That's right, they finished each other's sentences. They were able to because they were all thinking the same thing. Sasuke Uchiha must pay. At this, Sasuke shut his mouth, thank God, and sat down. This had been going on for a while. Ever since the Uchiha massacre 2 years previously, Sasuke Uchiha had gone from a daddy's boy with a classic Uchiha superiority mindset, which he mainly had to hide the inferiority complex he had when being compared to his brother, to a power-hungry, sadistic, psychotic viper bastard. Like the Narutoverse power-hungry equivalent of WWE superstar Randy Orton. Except much, much crazier. For those of you who don't watch wrestling, go onto YouTube and do a search on Randy Orton videos. Sasuke hid his unstable mind so that he would be allowed to stay in the academy. Think about it. If he isn't allowed to be in the academy, he can't become a ninja. If he can't become a ninja, he won't get the training he'd need in order to take on his brother. If he doesn't get the training he'd need in order to take on his brother, he can't kill his brother. Itachi's mega strong and a real badass. He may have hidden his unstable mind, but he didn't really hide much else. He bullied Naruto even more after the Uchiha massacre, but started to back off a little after Naruto met his friends. Because of his behavior towards their little brother, Kiba and the guys, along with anyone else who sees Sasuke for who he really is, have appropriately dubbed him the Onyx-Eyed Viper. After Sasuke backed down, they continued with attendance and then started the lesson. Later, after detention ended, Iruka was running to the Hokage's office to see if Sarutobi knew anything about why Naruto was absent. All the while, in his concern, he didn't notice 4 of his students following him. Kiba, Shikamaru, Chuji, and Shino were tailing Iruka because, just like their teacher, they were worried about the shy little ball of sunshine. When Iruka finally got to the Hokage's office, he just barged in running past the Hokage's secretary. Iruka barged in and saw that Sarutobi was still working on his paperwork. "Iruka," the aged Hokage exclaimed, a little shocked by the sudden arrival of one of his favorite chunin. "What's the matter?" "Lord Hokage, is Naruto all right? He wasn't in class at all today, so I got worried. Did something happen to him?" Iruka asked, breathing heavily at first. The 4 boys were, without Iruka's knowledge, listening outside the door for any news on their shy friend.
"I'm sorry, Iruka-kun.
"Naruto-kun is in the hospital right now," the old man said in a depressed and worried tone. As soon as they heard this, the 4 boys all nearly let out concerned gasps slip from their lips and Iruka nearly fainted. "That did you say?" Iruka sputtered out, not believing his own ears. "I said he's in the hospital," Sarutobi said, more upset than before. Iruka's mind then began to fabricate possible reason for Naruto being hospitalized. Each situation that ran through his mind was more gruesome than the last. Finally, fear gripping his heart, Iruka asked the one question that the Hokage had hoped he wouldn't ask. "Why?" The Hokage took a deep breath and, with a heavy sigh, said, "Some villagers attacked Naruto-kun and tried to kill him. Camo 005. Pretty good chapter, although it was a bit short. I would probably prefer less frequent updates with long chapters than frequent updates with uber short chapters." Short? You call a 3072 word chapter short? Huff, guess it can't be helped. I'll try to lengthen my chapters at least a little bit. Raw 666. Can I recommended that Naruto meets the Kyuubi and the Kyuubi, not wanting to look weak, tries to toughen up Naruto by trying to beat on him in a fights until he snaps or is too far gone. Also, it tries to keeps Naruto within his mind and the clan heads try to help Naruto or Kyuubi satisfied and let him go. Second, because of Kyuubi, Naruto is turned into a berserker, which leads to Naruto being his shy self most of the time, but in combat or bullied, he snaps and attacks brutally any he consider an enemy. Mainly anyone beside his friends, Iruka and a certain angle who try to stop him from beating Sasuke to a bloody pulp. I was actually thinking of doing something almost exactly like that later. Great minds think alike, I guess. You'll just have to wait and see. Kallian. I think you have an interesting chapter and I love how you included Shino in the group. Good job. Thanks. I had a good feeling about including Shino in the group. I thought it would really say something about how little we know about him from the series. Not gonna say 09. Well, this is a somewhat different approach to the other 2 or 3 fics in this challenge, and so far it seems to work fairly well. I do wonder if you plan on Naruto being raised by someone like some other fics did. If you plan on going that route, I would like to recommend either Tsume, as you have her showing the most concern of the 4 parents thus far, or Kakashi, as he has not really had a chance to be a good parent in any fics on this site. A great 2 chapters thus far. Dunno. I'm still trying to decide on that one. I might decide to post a poll later and let the fans decide. Divine Night of Britannia. My student, this chapter was better than the first. I'm glad to see Shikishino Chojikiba team stick up for Naruto and threaten Sasuke. I am wondering about Hinata through. Is she going to be shy or outgoing? I wonder what will happen next. I guess I'll have to wait. Other than that, good job. Now keep working on it, or else not only will I make you walk backwards around the earth 10 times, I will have Sasuke following you, threatening to kiss you. Now continue on, my youthful student. Thanks for the motivation. Sensei, that one's still in the oven too, but I've just about decided. Who knows? Hinata may make an appearance in this chapter. Read and find out. CXPW. Wow. Shikamaru, Chuji, Shino, and Kiba, I like it. About the other two with thoughts off making Sasuke swallow his teeth, I'm betting in Hinata and maybe, just maybe Ino. Because of her father being on of those who have Naruto's back, she might as well think the same. And don't teach me, I like to answer rhetorical questions XD. Even if I'm a terrible guesser, rubs the back of the head shamefully. Yeah, I know I'm boring as hell and crazy. Sorry. Anyway, love the way you portrayed Sasuke. I'm have deep hatred for him. To say the truth, evil laugh. So please update soon. Dude, you hit the nail right on the head. I posted all of those things in the parenthesis because I wanted people to take a crack at guessing. Still haven't gotten any guesses as to who my other favorite Naruto character is. By the way, do you really think I managed to capture SAS Jerk as being a viper like Randy Orton? Zentori. I like the fact Kiba, Shino, Chuji, and Shikamaru are Naruto's friends. So far the story is looking good. Oh, and I would keep Hinata shy. That would make for some interesting scenes between Naruto and Hinata later on in the story. Well, you got me there, but I'm just not sure if that would pan out. If I do decide on that, then Hinata most likely won't stay shy. Well, that's enough out of me.
Onta chapter kolmas.
Kiba, I'll handle the disclaimer this time. Get back to work, you lazy bum. Uzumaki Riki. I'm not lazy. I just can't work on this at home right now. Kiba, yeah, whatever. Anyway, this lazy bum doesn't own Naruto. Uzumaki Riki. That's it. Kiba, I'm gonna fucking castrate your ass.
Kiba, à elle.
Talking. Thinking. Emphasis on certain words. Inner, you know, that little voice inside your head. No, not like a bijou inside a Jinchuriki. Talking. Inner thinking. Demonic voice or evil voice talking, which includes a Jinchuriki's feral, almost demonic voice when he/she's using their bijou's chakra, but are still in control. Demonic voice or evil voice thinking, see above. Author talking. Naruto, Life of a Shy Jinchuriki. Chapter 3, A Friend in Need. Irika, as well as Kiba, Chuji, Shikamaru, and Shino, were all stunned at the news that the Hokage had just revealed.
What?
Did you say that Naruto was attacked? Irika asked, refusing to believe what he thought he'd heard. Yes, Sarutobi said sadly. Irika looked into the aged shinobi's eyes and saw them full of sadness, tears, and anger. When he saw that look, Irika knew it was the truth. There was a moment of relatively calm silence. Then, the temperature of the room seemed to drop to below freezing. "Those bastard!" Irika yelled, completely overcome with rage. On the other side of the door, yeah, sorry I didn't specify that before, Kiba and the others were thinking the exact same thing, whereas Akamaru growled in anger. They also thought, "How dare they do this to our brother? They're gonna pay for this." Irika, calm down. They've already been punished for it, Sarutobi told the enraged Chunin. Irika calmed down a bit after hearing this, but instantly became overcome with worry about Naruto's condition. Seeing the worry on Irika's face, the aged Hokage assured him. "No need to worry, Irika-kun. He's still alive and well." He's resting in the hospital with two of my most trustworthy NBU guarding him. Upon hearing this news, Irika visibly calmed down. Irika-kun, it's obvious that you're still worried about him. Why don't you and our little guests go and see him? The Hokage said knowingly. Irika was about to ask Sarutobi what he meant when he saw the old man eye the door in a confirming gesture. Irika walked over and opened the door, making Kiba, Shikamaru, Chuji, and Shino to fall forward and hit the floor. The four boys looked on guiltily at the two adults in front of them. How long did you know we were listening? Kiba asked the Hokage. The whole time. At this, Kiba and Chuji looked a little surprised, while Shikamaru and Shino just looked stoic. You knew that he knew? The two boys asked their friends simultaneously. It was too troublesome to mention, said Shikamaru sleepily. He's the Hokage. It would have been illogical for him to not know, Shino said. Kiba and Chuji looked at their friends, livid that they didn't say anything. Then the Hokage, after coughing to get their attention, said assuringly, now that our guests have been revealed, why don't the five of you go visit him before you go home? Thank you, Lord Hokage, the five of them said, dismissing themselves before leaving to visit Naruto. As soon as they left, Sarutobi got back to work in his struggle against the greatest bane of the Kages, paperwork. Just as he was getting back to work, a thought crossed his mind. Why are the ANBU watching over Naruto-kun always so late to help him? At the academy entrance, Sum was pacing outside, waiting for her son to come out. She'd had Kuramaru stay behind and make sure that none of the younger children of the Inuzuka clan caused any trouble. While she was waiting, Shikaku and Chuza arrived to pick up their boys, too. Hey Sum, the two said at the same time. Hey guys, let me guess, your boys got detention too, Sum said. Huff, yeah. The both answered. That doesn't explain why Shino-kun hasn't come home yet, said Shibi Aburame, who seemed to have popped in out of nowhere. Startled at their old friend's surprising arrival, the three jumped slightly and turned their heads. Shibi, when did you get here? And what do you mean, Shino-kun hasn't come home yet? The three of them asked. A moment ago, and I mean he hasn't come home yet, Shibi stated. But didn't he tell you that he, along with our sons, wouldn't walk home until they made sure that Naruto-kun got home safely? Chuza asked, clearly confused. He told me that the very day that Naruto-kun first became their friend, Shibi answered. As Shibi said this, they started to believe that the boys noticed their blonde friend's absence and grew concerned. They decided to check the classroom to see if the boys were there. As soon as they were outside the classroom, they noticed that Shino wasn't waiting for them outside like he and Naruto usually would whenever their friends got detention. They went inside and noticed that the classroom had absolutely no one inside it. Not a soul. Looks like they weren't the only ones who were worried about Naruto-kun, said Shikaku. Irika probably went to talk to the Hokage about it. We should try there, stated Shibi. Sum, Chuza, and Shikaku all nodded their agreement. The four clan heads then left the academy and started to walk to the Hokage's office. At the hospital, Naruto was rolling around restlessly in his sleep when he suddenly jolted awake, sweating profusely. He had been having yet another nightmare about the villagers and his friends. In most of his nightmares, which he has pretty frequently, the villagers chase him through the village before cornering him, then begin beating him to death. Irika and Naruto's friends then arrive and try to protect him, but this causes the villagers to set their sights on them. The villagers then proceed to beat Naruto's precious people to death, forcing him to watch, before they finally strike him with a killing blow. Naruto always wakes up before the blow lands, sweating in a profuse manner and screaming in terror. This was another such nightmare. Outside Naruto's room, Irika, Kiba, Shino, Chuji, and Shikamaru were all walking towards Naruto's room. Sensei, do you think Naruto's all right? Asked Chuji with his voice full of concern. Yeah, You know as well as we do that a lot of the doctors here don't like him, Kiba stated. Guys, calm down. Remember, Naruto's got the Hokage's most trustworthy ANBU guarding him. He's most likely sleeping right now, said Shino. Shino's right. Just have faith in Lord Hokage's judgment, Irika told his worried students. Suddenly, they heard their favorite blonde scream in terror. You were saying? Shouted Kiba, Chuji, and Shikamaru, while Akamaru growled at Irika and Shino in agreement with his partner and his partner's friends. The five of them made their way to Naruto's room and burst through the door. They looked around and saw someone under the bed's covers, shaking like a leaf in the wind. Naruto, are you okay? Kiba asked, knowing it was Naruto.
No.
Naruto stuttered out, so frightened he could barely speak. Did you have a nightmare? Irika asked knowingly. At this, Naruto nodded his head from under the covers. Seeing Naruto like this broke their hearts, making them curse the villagers and wish death upon them for doing this to a soul as kind and caring as Naruto. Was it one of the usual ones? Chuji asked, concern for his friend and anger towards the villagers ringing in the young Akimichi's voice. Naruto just nodded again and started to cry when he started to remember the nightmare. It's okay, Naruto. Go back to sleep. We'll stay here with you as long as we can, Irika stated, trying to comfort his favorite student.
Really?
Naruto asked while coming out from under the covers just enough to confirm if they meant it, his eyes still swimming with tears. Hell yeah, Naruto. We're here for ya, little buddy, Kiba exclaimed, and Akamaru barked in agreement. Naruto visibly relaxed when he saw that they meant what they were saying, then went back to sleep. Irika and the others stayed by Naruto's bedside and didn't move a muscle, even when Shibi, Sum, Shikaku, and Chuza arrived to take the boys home. The four clan heads let the boys stay, under the condition that Irika keep an eye on them. They then left for home and decided to meet up with Inoichi the next morning to discuss what they were going to do to help Naruto. Every time a nurse tried to get Irika and the others to leave, they gave her death glares that would make an ANBU captain flinch in fear. The next day, Naruto, Kiba, Shino, Chuji, and Shikamaru were all walking to the academy together, with Akamaru sitting atop Kiba's head. During the entire trip, Naruto would flinch in fear when he would see the glares the villagers were sending his way. Every time the villagers glared at Naruto, his friends would return their glares tenfold and Akamaru would growl at the villagers. Finally, the five of them, plus Akamaru, arrived at the entrance to the academy. As soon as they reached the entrance, they saw Sasuke and his goons blocking the front door, while each of Sasuke's fangirls tried to make a move on him. Sasuke turned all of them down, which elicited a few groans from the disappointed girls.
Ave, come on, Sasuke-kun.
Just one date, please, Sakura Haruno asked, her voice at its usual loud, banshee-like volume. She said it so loudly that Naruto and his friends heard from their position. The five boys and the puppy noticed that Sasuke and his cronies appeared to be waiting for something or someone. Sasuke looked their way and saw Naruto. As soon as he saw that Naruto was in today, a sadistic smile wormed its way onto the young Uchiha's face and he got an evil look in his eyes. Sasuke then motioned to his friends and pointed in Naruto's direction. They all got what he was trying to tell them. As soon as they noticed how nervous and fidgety Naruto was, Sasuke and the others started to make their way toward their leader's favorite target, with Sasuke's crowd of grazed fangirls following close behind. Chuji, Shino, Shikamaru, Akamaru, and Kiba all stepped in front of Naruto, daring the last Uchiha and his goons to try something. They did this because they knew that, amongst the bullies, Sasuke would be the only one who would try to go through them to get to Naruto. You lookin' for trouble, Uchiha team? Kiba asked in spite. You think I'm scared of you losers? I could take any of you with one hand behind my back. So just make this easier for all of us, and get out of the way, Sasuke said arrogantly. You want Naruto? Then come get him, Kiba said, not backing down. Chuji, Shino, And, surprisingly, Shikamaru all agreed with Kiba, while Akamaru jumped off of Kiba's head and started growling at Sasuke like a dog protecting a member of its pack. "Maybe I will," said Sasuke, taking a step forward. Kiba and the others all got ready to fight, when suddenly, "All right, break it up. I want all of you in class in 5 minutes or it's detention for all of you," Irika shouted, getting their attention. Sasuke and the others then backed off, but not before Sasuke could shoot a glare at Kiba and the others for getting in his way. Naruto then looked at his friends, his eyes still full of tears. "What's the matter, Naruto?" Shino asked. Why you GG guys PP put use selves at our risk FF4 me. BB but. I am not WW worth it, Naruto said, trying to keep himself from crying. "What are you talking about? Of course you're worth it. You're our friend Naruto," said Chuji. "Chuji's right, Naruto. And as long as you are our friend, we'll always stick by you whether you want us to or not," said Shikamaru. The others all nodded in agreement and, just as Naruto was about to say something, he felt something nudge him in the leg. He looked down and saw that it was Akamaru. Kiba, Chuji, Shikamaru, and Shino looked down as well. "See? Even Akamaru agrees with us," Kiba said, smiling at his partner and his blonde friend. "Thanks G guys," Naruto said as he knelt down and started to pet Akamaru. In response, Akamaru leaned up and started to lick Naruto's face. "Anytime, Naruto," Shikamaru said. "Shocking, isn't it?" "Yeah, and if anyone wants to hurt you, they've got to go through us first. Right, guys?" Kiba stated/asked. "Got that right." "Indeed." "Yeah, no matter how troublesome it is." "All right, Akamaru. I think he's feeling better," Kiba said. As soon as he said this, Akamaru's licking slowed to a stop. The puppy then walked over to Kiba and stood next to him, turning his gaze back to Naruto. "Guys, we'd better get to class before Irika-sensei blows a gasket," said Shikamaru. "Shikamaru-san is right. We should hurry before we're late," said Shino. Kiba picked Akamaru up and set him back in his usual spot. As soon as Akamaru was comfortably atop Kiba's head, the 5 boys turned around and walked into the academy. Chapter 4. It's about time. Naruto, Kiba, Chuji, Shikamaru, and, though his was far less noticeable, even Shino all stepped into the noisy classroom with smiles on their faces. Sasuke's fangirls were arguing about who'd sit next to him while others were chatting away about personal matters. In the midst of all the chaos, Naruto and the others managed to slip into their usual seats without anyone noticing. As usual, the 5 friends sat as close to the door as possible with Naruto surrounded by all of them. They sat close to the door so that they would be able to leave class before everyone else. Naruto was surrounded by all of his friends so that none of the students who bullied him would be able to get at him during class. Kiba called this seating arrangement the turtle. Irika, who noticed the 5 boys slip into the classroom, waited until they were seated before he silenced the rest of the class. "Shut up and sit down before you all get detention for the next 3 days," Irika said using his big head justu, startling most of the students. As soon as they heard the Scarface Chunin's orders, the students immediately shut up and rushed to seat themselves. As soon as the last student was seated, Irika started the lesson. As soon as the bell rang over, they all went to lunch. Meanwhile, inside the Hokage's office, Sarutobi was sitting at his desk, working on his paperwork while he waited for his morning appointment to arrive. As he was doing it, a certain thought crossed his mind. Why would the ANBU I assigned to watch Naruto-kun take so long to help him? The only reason he didn't end up with any fractured or broken bones this time was because Tsum-san, Inoichi-san, Chuza-san, and Shikaku-san arrived before the villagers go as far as they usually do. I personally assigned those ANBU to protect poor Naruto-kun and warned them what their punishment would be for failing to protect him, and yet this still happens so often. One of the only ANBU assigned to protect Naruto-kun that actually takes protecting him seriously is Inu, aka Kakashi. This has to stop. And soon. As soon as he finished this thought, Tsume, Shibi, Inoichi, Shikaku, and Chuza walked in for their appointment with Kuramaru in tow. "Hello, Lord Hokage. Thank you for making time to see us," Shibi said calmly. "There's no need to thank me. When you all sent word that you had an idea that would help Naruto-kun, I was more than happy to see you. That poor boy has suffered enough at the hands of those villagers," the aged Hokage said, venom dripping from his every syllable as the last sentence left his lips. "I couldn't agree more," Tsume said angrily while the other four nodded in agreement. "How about you all sit down and tell me this idea you've all got?" Sarutobi asked. As soon as he asked this, the four clan heads pulled up a chair and sat down. "Now, what do you five have in mind?" Tsume and the others all took a deep breath and said, "We believe that Naruto would be more safe if one of us were to take him in." As soon as they said this, the aged Hokage's face lit up with happiness, then sunk into a depressed appearance. "I understand, but you know as well as I do that the civilian council will never allow that. They won't allow anyone to take Naruto-kun in unless it's someone who'll kill him in his sleep," Sarutobi said, depressed. The five clan heads' faces then slipped into despair. Then suddenly Shikaku got another idea. "That's not completely true," Shikaku said slyly, a sneaky smirk spreading onto his face. "What are you getting at, Shikaku?" Tsume asked. "I'm saying that, if the person that wants to adopt Naruto-kun has the support of every clan head on the council, there's no way that they'll be able to say no." "You don't mean, no way, not gonna happen. No chance in hell," Tsume said. "Tsume, it's our only shot," said Shikaku. "I don't care. There's no way I'm asking him for help. It's because of Hayashi and his brother that I missed my one chance with Minato-kun," Tsume said angrily. "Are you still going on about that? It's been 20 years already. Let it go, woman," Chuza said incredulously. 20 years, 3 months and 18 days. But who's counting? Tsume said / asked. "Apparently you are," Shibi stated. "Enough. Shikaku-san's right, Tsume-san. If we don't do this, then Naruto-kun may never be able to sleep soundly at night without the threat of being killed in his sleep hanging over his head. Please, Tsume, do it for Naruto-kun. For Minato-kun and Kushina-chan," Sarutobi said, pleading with Tsume. Tsume got a thoughtful look on her face, then sighed and looked Sarutobi in the eye. "Fine, I'll do it. I'll ask that blowhard Hyuga to help. But I won't like it," Tsume said, frustration ringing in her voice. "Good. Now, I'll send some ANBU to Dash." "No need. I'll go. Besides, I don't want that arrogant, white-eyed team bastard to think that I'm a coward for not coming in person," Tsume said before walking out the door. "Huff, at least she's willing to compromise," Chuza said. "Indeed," Shibi agreed. At the Hyuga compound, Hayashi Hyuga was pacing in his study, deep in thought. He was pacing because, no matter how much he wanted to, now was not the time to immerse himself in the novel series that was a favorite among the Hyuga. Yes, there'd be time for that later. Right now, he had to focus on important things. The Hyuga elders had, once again, suggested stripping Hinata of her title as heiress, banishing her to the branch family, and giving her the caged bird seal. And, once again, Hayashi had managed to get them to change their mind about it by pulling the "doing that will shame the Hyuga clan" card. The elders would drop the subject every time Hayashi pulled this card, but sooner or later the elders would try again. It was a cycle that Hayashi was really starting to get sick of. So, in an effort to end it, he decided that later he'd like to. Talk to Hinata about being more Hyuga-like. I will not be the first Hyuga clan head to have his firstborn child branded with the caged bird seal. Somehow, someway, I will get her to uphold the Hyuga image, Hayashi thought. Not only did he need to talk to her about her behavior, but he also had some news for her. This time, when Hayashi pulled the "it would dishonor the Hyuga" card, the elders didn't immediately back off. so he had to cut a deal with them. He knew he had to tell Hinata, and knew he had to tell her soon. Then, Hayashi heard someone knock on his door and jumped slightly as he was brought out of his thoughts. "Father," he heard the person call in a little girl's voice. He instantly recognized the person who knocked as his youngest daughter, Hanabi. "Yes, Hanabi-chan?" he called out. "There's someone here to see you. Right now." She's shouting something about having to ask a stuck-up tightwad for a favor, or something like that. As soon as Hanabi said this, one thought ran through her father's mind. Stuck-up tightwad. No way. So, she finally needs a favor from me. Huh? Hey, talk about justice. She had the gall to pull that prank on Hizashi and now she needs a favor from me. Ha ha ha. I am so gonna make her squirm. Payback time. Inuzuka. "Thank you, Hanabi-chan. Please send her here." "All right, father." He heard her walk away as soon as she responded. Hayashi unlocked the door as he heard Hanabi return with Tsum Inuzuka, then turn and leave. Tsum entered Hayashi's study with a frown on her face. She looked agitated, like she didn't want to be there. Well, long time no see, Tsum-san. Please make yourself comfortable." "Cut the crap, Hyuga. I just want to get this over with. Get out of here, and never speak of this again." "I don't think so, Inuzuka. You pulled that pranks on my brother and I back when we were 16. And now it's payback time," Hayashi said, glaring at Tsum. "Oh, come on. It was not that bad." "Not that bad? No, that bad? Do you have any idea how long it took us to get that underwear loose? Or how many therapy sessions it took to get Hizashi past that ridiculous squirrel phobia you caused him to have? No matter what it is. If you want my help, you're going to bow down as low as you can and beg me to help," Hayashi shouted, his face livid. Tsum's face looked like it was frozen in shock. She contemplated this for several minutes. For Naruto-kun, Kushina, and Minato-kun, Tsum thought. She then got down on her knees and bowed her head until it touched the floor, crossing her arms in front of her bowed head. Please help. Help us to protect Naruto-kun," Tsum said, her tears as she remembered what the young blonde had been put through causing her to stutter.
Naruto-kun.
Minato and Kushina's son, Hayashi thought in surprise. He thought she would ask for something completely different. He now felt guilty for making someone bow down and beg him to help his dead best friend's son. "Minato, I wonder how disappointed in me you'd be if you were here today." "All right." Tsum's ears perked up. "I'll help, and we'll never speak of this again." Tsum got up off the floor and dried her tears. "Thanks, Hyuga." "No problem. Now, let's go to the Hokage's office." The two clan heads then left Hayashi's study, with Hayashi locking the door behind him. The two then made their way to the Hokage's office, surprisingly finding Hayashi there already. First he made such a fuss about this, and he gets there faster than you can say Bigora. "How did you get here so fast?" Tsum asked. "Don't ask," Hayashi replied. "But dash. Just let it go, Tsum-san. You can find out later," Sarutobi said. "Fine, but I'm still gonna get my answer later," Tsum said. "Now then, is anyone going to tell me the plan to help Naruto-kun?" Hayashi asked. "Yeah, I was hoping you could lend your support in getting Naruto-kun adopted into either your clan or one of ours," Shikaku said. When Shikaku said this, a slight frown appeared on Hayashi's face. "I don't know. The Hyuga elders are really against him.
Plus.
Just because he's in a clan doesn't mean he'll be much safer. Sure, no one outside whichever clan he ends up in will try to kill him, but what's to stop someone inside that clan from trying to kill him?" Hayashi said. "That is a very good point. You know something? It really sucks when you're right, Hyuga," Tsum proclaimed after thinking it over. "This is going to be harder than we thought," Inoichi said. At the academy, Naruto and Shino were sitting under a tree with a swing hanging from it, minding their own business and trying to relax. Then Naruto and Shino heard something and looked towards the academy building. The other students had just finished eating lunch and were coming out of the cafeteria. Well, most of them, Kiba, Chuji, and Shikamaru still had detention. In other words, Shino was the only one standing between Naruto and his tormentors. Says Shino? Yes, Naruto-san? Maybe we should go BB back to the CC classroom and wait for the BB bell to ring. Naruto said, even more nervous than usual. Why? Do you see Uchiha-san and his friends? Shino asked. As soon as Shino asked his shy friend this, well, let's just the old saying speak of the devil, and he shall appear, rings true. What's up, Uzumaki? Aburame? What are you two doing over here? The onyx-eyed viper said with a sadistic smile as he approached the two of them. His goons and fangirls, well, most of them, hot on his heels. Nothing. We were just leaving. Right, Naruto-san? Shino replied. Naruto tried to speak, but found that his voice wouldn't work. Surrounded by his biggest tormentor's friends with only Shino to save him. He was paralyzed by his fear and couldn't even talk, let alone run away. What's the matter, Dobe? Cat got your tongue? Or maybe you're looking to stay and fight. If so, I'm happy to oblige, Sasuke said, getting ready to lunge at Naruto. No, you won't, Shino said, running towards Naruto in an attempt to intercept the Uchiha jackass and protect his friend. Grab him and hold him down, Sasuke barked at his goons. As soon as Sasuke told them this, 5 of them cut Shino off and pinned him to the ground. Stay away from him, Shino ordered. Why should I? Who's gonna stop me, you? Ha 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 ha, Sasuke replied, laughing cruelly. Naruto, finally realizing that Shino got pinned down trying to defend him, rushed over to try and help. I don't think so, Sasuke said as he cut Naruto off by sweeping the shy blonde's feet out from under him with a kick. He then looked down at Naruto and said, You're not getting away this time. The mutt, the lazy slug, and the fat ass are all in detention right now and Bug Boy's pinned down. You've got no one to protect you and no way to escape, so just sit there and take it like a man, Sasuke said before kicking Naruto in the gut as he tried to stand up. Naruto, Shino shouted, surprising. Huh? As he tried to get free. Pick him up, Sasuke shouted to 2 of his goons that were still in the crowd. The 2 went up. Then they each planted a foot onto one of Naruto's legs, grabbed an arm and brought him up. As soon as Naruto was on his knees, Sasuke punched him across the face and slammed his left knee into the blonde boy's chest. Don't go passing out on me now, Sasuke told Naruto before punching him in the face again. Just as Sasuke was about to land another blow on Naruto, a lavender and blue blur zipped out of the tree and kicked him in the side, knocking him away from his favorite punching bag. What the hell? Sasuke said as he got up. Standing before him was a girl in a lavender jacket and navy blue pants with dark blue hair and lavender gray tinted white eyes. I've had it. I keep looking on, thinking that you assholes are gonna leave the poor guy alone, but I'm tired of it. You're gonna walk away and leave him alone and you're gonna do it now, the girl shouted. Oh yeah? Who's gonna make us? And just who the hell are you? Sasuke asked. You don't recognize me? A little upsetting since we're in the same class, but I'll refresh your memory.
I'm Hinata Hyuga.
Heiress to the Hyuga clan. In other words, you'll leave him alone if you know what's good for ya. Get the picture, Hinata said, activating her Byakugan. So? You're not the boss of Sasuke said before Hinata gave him a Juken-style punch in the face, notching a culp of his teeth loose. Like I said before, you'll leave him alone if you know what's good for ya, Hinata said before glaring at the boys who had Naruto, causing them to step back and drop him. She gave the boys who had Shino pinned down the same treatment and they scattered like frightened rabbits. She looked back at the group and glared at them in a way that would make Shikaku crap himself before saying, Now listen up and listen good. If I ever, and I mean ever, catch any of you picking on him again, I'll send all of you crying to your mamas with broken arms and scrolls shoved up your noses. And that's nothing compared to what I'll do to that Uchiha coward you all follow. Got it? They all nodded their head as fast as they could. Good. Now AMSRY. She yelled, causing them to run back to the Academy's main building. She looked at Sasuke and saw him glaring at her like he was going to try and charge at her. Make my day, team, she said. Sasuke took a good look and saw that the odds weren't in his favor. He got up and said, "This isn't over. Do you understand me, Hyuga? This is far from over. I'll get you for this. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but I'll get you for this," he told her before walking away. As soon as Sasuke was gone, Hinata deactivated her Byakugan, then turned around and went to help Naruto up. "Hey, you all right?" she asked him. Naruto looked up to see who'd come to help him. When he looked at Hinata's face with the sun shining down from behind, he thought,
Www. Wow.
she's. Naruto couldn't even think of how to describe her. He started to stare at her and realized that, for some reason, he was blushing a bit. "Hello? Anybody in there?" she asked, waving a hand in front of Naruto's face. Naruto snapped out of his daze and looked away from her as his blush intensified. "Sorry about that. TT thank YYUF for H helping you us." Naruto stuttered out, feeling very nervous at the moment. "It's no biggie. I never liked bullies anyway. Besides, I've been wanting to kick his butt for a while. Still, Naruto-san and I both appreciate your help. By the way, my name is Dash." "There's no need for that. I remember your names. Shino Aburame," she pointed at Shino, "and Naruto Uzumaki, right?" she asked, pointing at Naruto. "Correct," Shino stated. "Well then, how about we get moving before Dash Hinata started?" At that moment, the bell rang. Never mind. Let's just get back to class." "Agreed. Let's go, Naruto-san," Shino said. Okay." The three of them then went inside the academy building and headed to class. Later that night at the Hyuga compound, Hinata was heading towards her room to go to bed. She was still happy about finally getting to wipe that smirk off of Sasuke Uchiha's smug, slimy little face. As she turned to head into her room, a branch family member called to her. "Lady Hinata." Hinata eye twitched before turning around. She hated being called Lady Hinata like that. It made her feel old. "Lord Hayashi would like to speak to you before you go to sleep," he told her. "Thanks. I'll go see him now. What could my old man want at this hour?" she said/thought. She then turned around and made her way to her father's study. Inside Hayashi's study, Hayashi was reading the latest volume of the book series that his former sensei writes when he heard someone try to open the locked door of his study. He only knew of one person in the clan who'd do that. The person on the other side began to knock, read, pound, on the door. "Gomein," he said. At this, Hinata walked in with an innocent look on her face. It was when he saw her with that look that he knew that she'd done something wrong. Again, as soon as Hayashi had started focusing more on Hanabi and ignoring Hinata, his oldest daughter had started acting out. She'd pull pranks, disrespect her elders both inside and outside the Hyuga clan, and even refuse to follow the Hyuga's usual dress code. Instead of wearing light brown or mostly white, the girl would wear mostly dark colors with almost none of the colors usually worn by a Hyuga. Usually, Hinata would be seen in navy blue pants and a lavender jacket with a jet black tank top underneath. The girl went out of her way to defy almost every one of the Hyuga clan's rules and bylaws. But, despite how much all this angered them, they were not the main reasons why the Hyuga elders despised their clan's young heiress as much as they did. No, what angered the old Hyugas most about the girl was her personality. She was always loud, obnoxious, wild, and unwilling to even sit still. Yet, at the same time, kind, caring, and farther from arrogant than you'd think any Hyuga could ever possibly be. These personality traits were why the elders believed that the girl's every action brought the Hyuga clan shame. "Hey old man, you wanted to see me?" Hinata said, making eye contact with her father. Hayashi eye-twitched as his daughter called him old man, as she usually did. It always angered the usually stern, yet relatively patient, Hyuga head that she refused to show even her own father any respect. "Yes, I did, Hinata. Sit down," Hayashi ordered, gesturing toward one of the 3 chairs near his desk. "No thanks. I'd rather stand," Hinata said nonchalantly. "It wasn't a request," Hayashi said, impatiently staring his daughter down. At this, Hinata sat down on the chair in front of her father's desk. Hayashi paced back and forth for about 5 minutes, critiquing his thoughts as his daughter shifted uncomfortably. Once he was finished, he turned and faced his daughter with a serious look on his face. "I'll get right to the point. Hinata, you need to stop acting like this. You dishonor me, yourself, and, more importantly, the Hyuga with your behavior," Hayashi said. "I don't get it. How does being myself dishonor anyone?" Hinata asked. "Because, by not maintaining the Hyuga image, you bring shame to the entire clan," Hayashi responded. "That's your opinion and the elders, not mine. I think that being unique is a good thing. It shows that you're not afraid to be your own person," Hinata said. "Regardless of what you believe, I cannot tolerate your behavior. Therefore, I'll dash." "You'll what? Banish me to the branch family? Brand me with the caged bird seal? I'll tell you what you'll do. Nothing. 'Cause you don't want to bring shame to the Hyuga clan or yourself. Truth is, you don't have the stones to do any of that to me." "Pathetic," Hinata said before turning towards the door to leave. "Don't you walk away from me," Hayashi said angrily. "What are you gonna do about it?" Hinata asked, turning back to her father. "Or else, I won't let the branch family members serve, or buy you any cinnamon rolls for a month. Not only that, but I will personally make sure that you don't even see another one for that entire month." "You wouldn't dare," Hinata said, horrified. "Try me." From the look in his eyes, Hinata could tell her father was serious. He wouldn't threaten her with something like that unless he was. Okay, I'll listen." "Huff, the elders have been talking about stripping you of your title as heiress."
No surprise.
"They pull that at least once a month." "Don't interrupt me."
Sorry.
"As I was saying, they've been talking about stripping you of your title as heiress, branding you with the caged bird seal, and banishing you to the branch family. I got them to drop it again. But this time I had to cut a deal to get them to drop it." "What kind of deal?" Hinata asked, a little concerned. "Well, you're going to be allowed to continue your education at the academy dash." "That's good, 'cause I hate the guys here in the compound who do the teaching. No emotion or anything unless I messed up or act up. Didn't I tell you not to interrupt me? My bad." "As I was saying, you're going to be allowed to continue your education at the academy. But dash." "Not the but," Hinata mumbled. "Interrupt me one more time and I'll have you spar with Niji for an hour after we're done here," Hayashi said, using the big head jutsu, but with a huge vein bulging out like it's gonna blow. Okay. No need to get testy. Like I said before, you'll be attending the academy. But if you don't graduate at the top of the class, you'll be branded with the caged bird seal and exiled from the clan," Hayashi said, turning away from his daughter so that she wouldn't see him cry. "Say what? They can't do that," Hinata shouted angrily. "They can. And if you don't graduate as Rookie of the Year, they will," Hayashi said, turning back towards his daughter. "Then I'll just make sure I graduate as Rookie of the Year." "All right then, you'd better get to bed. With how much you've been slacking off since you started at the academy, you're going to have many long and difficult days trying to catch up and get ahead." "All right, See ya tomorrow, old man. Hinata sighed before dashing off to get ready. That girl. I swear. She must get that from her mother's side, not that I hate that about her. Hitomi, my dear, I miss you so much, Hayashi said, remembering what his wife was like when he first met her. The main thing that drew Hayashi to her was her personality. When he was younger, due to how his father and the elders treated him, Hayashi was extremely cold and didn't care about anyone but himself and his brother. But then he met Hitomi. At times, she could be as stewborn as an ox and loud, but whenever she was around him, she could barely form a sentence. First, he found it annoying, but after he started to spend more time with her, he started to find Hitomi's mannerisms cute. Whenever he looks at his oldest daughter, he can practically see a mirror image of his late wife when they were at that age. This was one of the more discreet reasons for why he tried to ignore Hinata. Just looking at her would remind him of how he felt when his wife died after giving birth to Hanabi. Hitomi-chan, if you could only see what our little Hinata's become, you'd be able to help tame her, Hayashi thought before leaving his study to go to bed. Daisuke. Wow, guess my review was right on the money for you to get all violent like. Also, where was the flaming at? I was just addressing an event in your chapter that I disagreed with. Sorry, I'm not a bootlicker like your other sycophants and will call on something that I think is wrong. You don't have to like it, but to say you'd punch me in the neck so hard it would break is downright hilarious. First off, you would find yourself knocked out if you tried, and secondly, grow up. I'll leave the big bad internet bully a little tidbit which seems your small mind overlooked. Do your homework next time, otherwise it makes you look like an idiot, but please rant and rave like a little child again. It's rather amusing. Naruto was never attacked or beaten by angry villagers. He is under the direct protection of the Sandaime. The only assassination attempt he suffered was at the beginning of the manga when Mizuki revealed the truth about the fox. If he was used to the violence, he wouldn't have frozen when his team faced the Demon Brothers at the beginning of the Wave arc. The Sandaime is not a senile fool who doesn't realize the bad things that happen to Naruto as many writers want to portray him. He is not a weak-willed old man who is bullied by the council. Hiruzen Sarutobi is one of the most dangerous ninjas who ever existed, and he is not afraid of exert his authority. To think that somebody who managed to defeat the Summon Shodai and Nidaime Hokages and crippled Orochimaru is a weak-willed person who is afraid to do what has to be done. The vast majority of the villagers know that Naruto and the fox are different entities. Konoha is not inhabited by retards. This fact doesn't change the fact that they are afraid of the Kyuubi and want it away from them. You're still reading my FIC even though you hate it? Thanks for increasing my overall view count, smiley face. Okazaki 323. Chapter 3.
Kami-sama.
Sasuke's an asshole. Will he become Naruto's friend later? Will Lee become one of his best friends? I bet he will. One thing though, Shibi wouldn't use a Kuin honorific on the end of his son's name. When a father adds that kind of honorific to their son's name, it shows that they are distant. I only know that because I watch Clannad. Your story's awesome though. To respond to your questions in order: 1, no, and for 2 reasons. The first reason is that it's one of the conditions of the challenge, and the second reason is that most of me has absolutely no love for Sasuke, except for the older brother part of me too, maybe. I'm kind of on the fence right now. And about that thing with Shibi, seriously? I read somewhere that that honorific is usually used when… never mind. I'll just correct that and repost it when I repost chapters 1, 2, and 4. Oh, and thanks for reviewing more than just the most recent chapter. Chapter 4. Ha! Hinata say badass. I thought you were gonna say scrolls shoved up your asses, but you set up their noses. I was like, ha! Good story. Eve seen the shy Naruto thing done before, but this is really good. He scratches his head embarrassedly. Thanks. It's reviews like yours that raise my confidence, even if it's only a little bit. But I'd also like to know about any improvements I could make with my chapters for when I go back, correct all of the mistakes, then repost them. Daisy Vanity. Love it, please update soon. I love how you love wrestling and you compare Sasuke to Randy Orton. They're both Ficos. I love how you hate Sakura. Well, hat is a strong word, dislike is better. Please, 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 please update soon. It's so rare to come across such an awesome story. Please update. Automatic favorite and alert. God, I love this story. Are you sure you're not exaggerating? I mean, granted, I love writing this and reading it over when I need to remember what I've gotten done so far, but it can't be that good. By the way, I'm glad you approve of how I compared Sasuke to Randy. I often may not like how crazy Randy is, but for some reason I can't help liking it when I get to see the guy do what he does best. Anyway, thanks for the nice stuff, but I'd also like to hear about any improvements I could make. Lady Ghost 92. End.
Rasakra Nara.
Poor Naruto. My heart bleeds. I like the switcheroo, Naruto shy, Hinata flamboyant. It's a nice change. Flippin' awesome. I hear ya. It's tough for me to make Naruto suffer so much. But I've gotta do it to keep the universe in balance. Remember, no matter how bad things are gonna get for Naruto in my FIC, that'll just make all the good stuff that'll happen to him later all the more worthwhile. By the way, glad you approve. The Red Fox RJ. Nice so far, we'll have to read more later when I have time. Thanks. Happy to hear it. My Kyo 10. Wow, really good if I must say so myself. Seriously? Because I wasn't even really trying when I made chapter 1. Ricky. Well, showtime. Sasuke. From the bottom of a big pit, this nut job doesn't own Naruto. Now get me the hell outta here. Ricky. Let me think about that. No. Sasuke. You bastard. When I get out of here, I'll kill you. Ricky, you can try. Naruto, Life of a Shy Jinchuriki. Chapter 5. Naruto's First Real Christmas. Part 1. Months had passed since Hinata saved Naruto from Sasuke and his goons. Christmas was just 3 weeks away and Konoha was covered by a blanket of snow. It was a day almost like any other. Naruto, Kiba with Akamaru sitting on his head. Of course, Shino, Chuji, and Shikamaru were walking towards the academy like they usually do when they have classes. Except all of the boys were bundled up in extra layers of warm clothes due to the temperature outside. Kiba and the others glared back at any villagers who did the same to their shy friend. But today Naruto was scowling, something they almost never saw the shy blonde boy do. Naruto, are you okay? Kiba asked as he stopped returning the villagers' glares and looked towards his shy friend. Naruto, remembering that he wasn't walking alone and realizing he'd been caught in the act, hid his pain behind a shy, but still forced smile.
YYS. IIMFFine.
Naruto told him. Despite this, Kiba and the others could tell that Naruto was lying. Shino then starting to mull it over and realized that whenever any of them caught Naruto scowling was when it was around the holidays, especially Christmas. Even though I'm concerned about this, I should probably wait until Naruto-san and I are alone. If he'd wanted to talk to all of us about it, he probably would have before. Shino thought, pushing his sunglasses back up towards his eyes. Are you sure you're all right? Chuji asked, concerned. I am sure. Naruto said with a tiny hint of impatience as his forced smile grew a bit. Okay then, if you're sure, Chuji said, dropping the subject. Naruto looked off to the side and saw a happy family of 3 little boys about his age and his parents, laughing happily and, for a split second, Kiba and the others saw Naruto's face briefly slip into depression. Naruto then sped up his pace and walked ahead of his friends. Once he thought he was far away enough that they wouldn't see, Naruto let the tears he'd been holding back fall. I hate the holidays, he thought angrily before he reached the academy. As soon as Naruto reached the gates, he saw that Hinata was there and felt his anger die down a bit. For some reason, he couldn't bring himself to stay mad whenever he saw Hinata, especially if she was in a good mood. He then felt himself start to get nervous and walk towards her slowly.
Ha helag. Hahiu uga esesama.
Naruto said nervously, bowing to her. For the last time Naruto, please don't call me that. I hate it when people talk to me like that. Hinata told him. Sorry. Naruto apologized, worried that he'd made her angry or something. It's okay, but we really need to break you of that habit. Well, that and a few others, Hinata stated. Kiba and the others soon caught up with Naruto. Hello? Hinata-san, Shino said monotonously, but you could tell that he seemed happy to see her. Hey, Hinata-san, Chuji said with some enthusiasm. Hey, Shikamaru simply said before turning his attention towards the clouds in the sky. Kiba, unlike his friends, was not happy to see Hinata. He still hadn't forgiven her for what happened before. Flashback begins 2 weeks after Hinata helped Naruto. I know. I said that I wasn't gonna do these, but I've changed my mind. I'm gonna have flashbacks every now and then, just not constant flashbacks and flashbacks within flashbacks. And before you ask, yes, those actually exist. Kiba, Chuji, and Shikamaru were coming out of detention to meet up with Naruto and Shino when they saw their two friends talking to Hinata about something. Naruto seemed a little upset and appeared to be trying to talk Hinata into doing something. They couldn't tell if Shino was trying to help or if he was just listening. After a few minutes, Hinata finally caved and agreed. It looked as though Shino had started talking because he pointed them in the direction that Kiba and the others were in. Naruto looked and saw the rest of his friends, then smiled a little and walked towards them. Hi GG guys. Your FF finally done with detention, Naruto said. Yeah, but if it wasn't for a certain jerk, we probably wouldn't have ended up there in the first place, Shikamaru said tiredly before glaring at Kiba. For the last time, I did not pull that prank. I didn't pull a lot of those pranks that I got blamed for, Kiba shouted as Hinata approached. About that, Hinata stated after taking a deep breath. Halfway across the village. What? Kiba's voice rang out, causing a bunch of birds on a telephone wire to fly off. Back with Naruto and the others. Kiba was way beyond pissed. He just found out that Hinata was behind a majority of the pranks that he took the heat for and didn't commit. Kiba was trying to rush at Hinata so that he could get back at her. But Chuji, Naruto, and Shino were holding him back.
Lemme otar.
He shouted as he tried to get loose from his three friends who were trying to stop him. Let me go, guys, Kiba said, completely succumbing to his anger. No way, man, Chuji said as Naruto and Shino nodded in agreement. The three of them were holding Kiba back because they knew that, if they didn't, he might do something to Hinata that he might live to regret. That is, if he actually lived long enough to regret it. Flashback ends. Kiba was glaring holes in Hinata when Naruto spoke up. K Kiba, PP please say hello to Hyuga say. I am mean Hinata-chan. Naruto pleaded. Kiba looked at Hinata, then at Naruto and sighed. He then looked back towards Hinata and started glaring again.
Aki Kiba.
Hinata said, flinching a little as Kiba started to glare at her again. Hyuga-san, Kiba responded coldly before looking away from her.
Small, guys.
Let's head inside, he said before walking right past Hinata without looking at her. Shino, Chuji, and Shikamaru followed, whereas Naruto lingered a bit. At least he acknowledged you TT this TT time. And he didn't TT threaten you or anything, Naruto said, actually trying to look on the bright side. That's true. Maybe he's finally starting to forgive me, Hinata said as she and Naruto turned to follow Kiba and the others. Later in class, Irika and his longtime friend Mizuki were trying to get the students to settle down so that the lesson could begin. Irika, who was beginning to grow extremely impatient with the class's behavior, decided to use his most drastic method of getting the students' attention. Shoot you, Irika screamed at the top of his lungs while using a supersized version of the big head jutsu. Startled, the entire class immediately settled down. Irika looked at them all, feeling some pride that that method still had such an effect on the students whenever he used it. That's better. Now then, on to today's lesson. As you all know, Irika started before some of the students started to subtly tune him out. Naruto, being one of the few in class who actually paid attention to every one of Irika's lessons and lectures, started taking notes so that he could go over them with Kiba and, without Kiba finding out, Hinata later. Naruto had overheard Hinata talking to Irika about her dilemma and decided to try his best to help her. He still wasn't sure that he'd be much help, but was determined to try. A few hours passed before the bell rang indicating that lunch had started. Many of the students were relieved that their reprieve from their sensei's boring lesson had finally come. "Well, class, there's the bell. We'll see you all after lunch," Mizuki said as the students started to get up and leave. As Mizuki got up to leave as well, Irika remembered that Kiba and Chuji came up to him before class started and told him that Naruto had seemed to be in a bad mood when they were walking to the academy today. He waited until the students who loved to torment Naruto had left before making his move. "Hold on, Naruto. Can I talk to you for a little while?" Irika asked the shy boy as he got up to leave. "Okay, SS-sensei," Naruto said. "We'll wait up for ya, Naruto," Kiba told his friend. It's okay. I'll CC catch up," Naruto told him. As soon as Kiba and the others left, Irika had Naruto shut the door. "Okay, Naruto, is there a problem? Kiba and Chuji told me that you seemed upset about something when the 5 of you were walking to the academy this morning," Irika said.
No.
"And nothing's wrong," Naruto said abruptly. Irika could tell that Naruto wasn't telling him the truth. He knew that his shy charge was upset about something and wanted to know what. "You're not fooling me, Naruto. I know that something is bothering you. Now please, tell me what it is," Irika asked, his voice full of concern. But, unbeknownst to Naruto and Irika, a certain loud and mischievous clan heiress was listening intently from the other side of the door. "I thought that there was something off about Naruto today," Hinata thought as she pressed her ear closer to the door to hear better. "The TT truth is, SS-sensei, I just hate the holidays," Naruto said. "Naruto, you can't possibly mean the dash." "I do mean it. I hate the holidays. I get absolutely no joy from seeing so many people in the village enjoy them. It all reminds me of 2 of the only things that I've ever wanted in this world that I've never had," Naruto said, his eyes full of tears. "What are they, Naruto?" Irika asked. "TT2 BBB wanted and Aya accepted. To have a FF family. One of the only times when the villagers don't hunt me down and try to kill me is Christmas. And it's BB because they're too busy with their FF families. One of the only times of the YY year when I can know I'm safe and I CC can't even enjoy it," Naruto said, his tears coming out in full now. It broke Irika's heart to see Naruto like this. He tried his best to fill at least one of the voids left in Naruto's life, but that didn't mean he could be there for Naruto as much as a real parent could. Seeing Naruto break down like this made Irika, once again, question whether or not the Yondaime Hokage should have just let the Kyuubi wipe out Konoha. He once again found himself thinking that any village that could do something like this to someone as kind-hearted and gentle as Naruto, and anyone in it who does so, doesn't deserve to exist. "Shoo, it's okay, Naruto. It's okay," Irika hugged Naruto and said as he tried to comfort the crying boy. On the other side of the door, Hinata was actually on the verge of tears when she heard this. "Poor Naruto-kun. He doesn't deserve any of this," Hinata thought, not noticing how she added the honorific. "If it helps Naruto, you're only half right about what you said," Irika said. Naruto asked with a sniffle. "Yes, you are. I accept you, care about you. So do Lord Hokage, Kiba, Shino, Chuji, and even that lazy Shikamaru," Irika told him. "Do why you are really mean to that?" Naruto asked through his tears, a little skeptical. "Of course, the Hokage wouldn't have ninja protect you if he didn't care. I wouldn't bother to teach you or help you with the exercises if I didn't care. and, most of all, Kiba and the others wouldn't be your friends if they didn't care. Iruka told Naruto. Really? Naruto asked with another sniffle as he dried his tears. Really? Naruto finished wiping his tears, then hugged his sensei back. Thank you, Iruka SS sensei. Naruto said as he started to cry again, except this time it wasn't because he was sad. You're welcome, Naruto. Now why don't you go meet up with Kiba and the others? Iruka told Naruto. Okay, Naruto said, wiping his eyes again as Iruka pulled away from their little embrace. There you go. See you after lunch, Naruto, Iruka said as Naruto turned to leave. Hinata heard Naruto start to head towards the door she was listening from and got back, standing against the wall. She did this so that Naruto wouldn't see her when he opened the door or when he left. As Naruto closed the door and left, one thought kept crossing his mind. I guess I'm not as bad off as I thought. I may not have a real family, but I do have people who accept and care about me. He then remembered a conversation he'd had with the Hokage once before. Flashback begins. Hokage SS-sama. WW what do YYU do? WW what does it mean to be Hokage? Naruto asked, afraid of saying something to upset the old man. Why do you want to know, Naruto-kun? Sarutobi asked. Just curious. Well, Naruto-kun, that's actually pretty simple. As the Hokage, I'm one of the ones who makes sure that the village, as well as everyone in it, is safe. The old Hokage explained.
Vuvuvhe.
Naruto asked. Because I care about all of them. Even though I'm not related to them by blood, I consider the people of this village my family. Family? Yes, no matter how they treat each other, the people of this village are something of a family. They support each other, care about each other, and trust each other. You're probably wondering how that can be true if they treat you the way they do, Sarutobi said. Naruto nodded at this, shivering in fear as he remembered some of the things the villagers have done to him. Well, when you were born, something awful happened in this village. The villagers are still filled with grief over this, and because of how blinded they are by their grief and their inability to understand nor accept the truth, they take it out on you. The old man said sadly.
Vuvuvhe.
Naruto asked, extremely surprised by this. That I cannot tell you right now. I may be able to someday, but not today. You're just not ready to know why yet, the Hokage told Naruto. Okay. Good. Now, does that cover everything you wanted to ask me? The old man asked kindly.
Yes.
Okay then, Naruto, I know it hurts now. Just please try to bear it. And remember, you're not alone in this world. All right? Flashback ends. As long as I have people who care about me, I'm not alone in this world. Even if most of the villagers hate me, I still have friends. Naruto thought before leaving to meet up with his friends. With Kiba and the others. Kiba, Shino, Chuji, and Shikamaru were playing in the snow while they waited for Naruto. Well, Kiba and Chuji were playing in the snow. Shikamaru was cloud watching and Shino was reading a book about insects. The four of them then noticed Naruto heading their way, happier than he was earlier. Kiba ran up to Naruto and greeted him. Hey buddy, you seem to be in a better mood. Did your talk with Iruka-sensei help? Kiba said/asked. How did you dash? Did you really think that you could hide it from us? We're your friends, Naruto. We can tell when something's wrong with you, Shikamaru said, stopping his cloud watching and looking at his shy friend as the others nodded, indicating their agreement. Seeing this, Naruto could feel himself getting ready to tear up again. Thanks, GG guys, Naruto said while trying to hold back his tears. Don't mention it, little buddy, Chuji said. Then the bell rang, telling them to get back to class. We had better go, Shino said as he closed his book and stood up. Race ya! Kiba exclaimed as he broke into a run and headed inside. Later on, after the day ended, Naruto was walking home, a lot happier than he could ever remember being around Christmas time, when he remembered something he heard once. If you want others to show you a little goodwill and kindness, you sometimes have to show them some first. If that's true, then maybe, if I try at least a little harder to be nice to Sasuke and the others, they'll be nicer to me. Naruto thought as a plan started to form in his mind. He'd try to win his tormentors over with some kindness. He usually just tried to hide from them or avoid them. If hiding and trying to stay away didn't work, then maybe being nice would. He decided to take it one step at a time, work his way up to Sasuke and his fangirls. Chapter 6. Naruto's First Real Christmas. Part 2. Naruto was inside his apartment putting the final touches on his little plan. It had been exactly 2 weeks since he first decided to start trying to be nice to his tormentors and, so far, his idea wasn't failing. Then again, it wasn't a total success either. Some of his bullies had started feeling bad when he'd been nice to them. Others had just brushed off his attempts at kindness. Ino had almost completely stopped trying to ignore it when Sasuke and the others bullied him, but still thought that she could change the Uchiha's attitude. Sakura, however, was another story entirely. Whenever he'd try to be nice to her, the stubborn pink-haired girl would brush him off or say that he was bugging her. So he'd decided to try a more drastic measure. He started trying to raise some money to buy some gifts for his classmates. He took odd jobs around the village, shoveling snow, cleaning out gutters, things like that. It was now Christmas Eve. Naruto was almost ready for Christmas. He'd gotten some special gifts for Mizuki and Irika, for his friends, and even for his 2 biggest tormentors, aka the Onyx-Eyed Viper and the Pink Banshee, in hopes of showing the people he cared about how much he appreciated them and extending an olive branch to his enemies. Unbeknownst to Naruto, the only reason that many of the villagers even agreed to let him do those things was that they hoped that he would freeze to death or work himself to death. If it weren't for a certain silver-haired Umbu who was watching over him at the time, Naruto probably wouldn't have gotten paid at all for all his hard work. "Hey Naruto, come on, we're waiting for ya," he heard Kiba shout from outside. Naruto went to his window and looked outside to see Kiba and the others waiting for him. He opened the window and popped his head out. "Yeah, come on. We're gonna be late for the academy if you don't get out here soon," Chuji said. "Actually, we still have about an hour before class starts," Shino corrected the young Akimichi. "Yeah, so it'd be too troublesome to rush when we've got so much time," Shikamaru said. I'll be out in a minute," Naruto told them. He grabbed the 5 bags of gifts he had in his room, put on the last of his snow gear, then walked outside his apartment, locked the door behind him, and went down the stairs to leave with his friends. The others looked at the bags Naruto was carrying with curiosity. One thought was running through their heads. What's up with the bags? "Hey Naruto, need a hand with those?" Kiba asked, still curious but wanting to help his shy friend. It's okay. IVG got them," Naruto responded. No, I insist," Kiba said, taking one of the bags. "Insist? Well, Naruto-san, it looks like the tutoring sessions you've been giving Kiba-san have been paying off." Shino joked, having started showing people more of the real him once he saw Naruto's change in attitude when it came to the holidays. "Yeah, they really hey, wait a minute, what's that supposed to mean?" Kiba asked, glaring at Shino. Chuji and Shikamaru were cracking up at their stoic friend's attempt at humor and Naruto was actually trying to stifle a giggle. Kiba, on the other hand, was just plain pissed off at the insinuation of Shino's words. "Nothing. I'm just saying that Naruto-san has been a big help for you," Shino said while trying to keep a straight face. "Oh, okay," Kiba said, totally buying Shino's act while his friends silently laughed behind his back. "Like I said before, I insist," Kiba said as he took one of the bags out of Naruto's hands, making his friends have to try even harder to hide their laughter. After they calmed down, Shino, Chuji, and even Shikamaru took some of Naruto's load off. When the 5 of them had almost made it to the academy, Kiba's curiosity finally got the better of him and he peeked inside the bag he was carrying. Inside, there were some gifts. "Hey Naruto, what's with the presents inside the bags?" Kiba asked before slapping a hand over his mouth.
You peeked.
Naruto asked, a little upset.
Yeah. Sorry.
Kiba said ashamedly. It's okay. Forgive you. Naruto told his feral-looking friend. Thanks. So, what's up with the gifts? Kiba repeated. Teachers there for you guys. Irika-sensei, Emizuki-sensei, and the rest of our CC classmates. Naruto told him. Even the Viper? Kiba asked with some shock, as he was referring to Sasuke. Yes, even him, Naruto said. Why? Chuji asked. I just thought about it, and I remembered something I heard before. To get a little goodwill and cheer, you sometimes have to give some first. I hadn't even tried to be nice to any of them before, so how could I expect them to be nice to me? Naruto explained. I guess that makes some sense, Kiba said, still a little skeptical. So a few weeks ago, I decided to start trying being nice to them. Naruto continued. How's that been working out for ya? Shikamaru asked. Hit and miss. Naruto replied. So, can we have ours now? Kiba asked as Akamaru yipped at Kiba from atop his master's head. Okay, I'll ask. Hey Naruto, you have one for Akamaru too? Kiba said / asked. Oh of course, and why yes you can all have yours now. Just pp please don't open them until CC Christmas. Naruto told Kiba before reaching into the bag he was carrying, pulling out 5 presents, and handing Kiba his and Akamaru's. Okay, Kiba said as he accepted the gifts from his shy friend. Thank you, Naruto-san, Shino said as he accepted his shy friend's gift. Thanks, little buddy, Chuji said as he accepted his. Thanks, Shikamaru simply said as Naruto handed him his present. Then the 5 of them then continued on their way towards the academy. At the academy gate, Sasuke's fangirls and goons were waiting for the young Uchiha to arrive. The goons were all busy talking about the possible ideas that their leader would have for torturing Naruto today. And most of the fangirls were arguing over whom the emo Uchiha liked best. One of them, however, had something else on her mind. Ino Yamanaka was known as Konoha's gossip queen. She was also known to be short-tempered, a little shallow, and, at times, somewhat rude. But, despite being all those things, she also had a good heart. No matter how shallow Ino was, she didn't openly approve of bullies or anyone like them. When Naruto stopped trying to run and hide from his tormentors and started trying to be nice to them, she saw him as more than just the, to quote Sasuke, shy dobe who never puts up a fight. She started to see just how kind-hearted and caring Naruto really was. I can't believe I never stood up for him before. He must think that I'm a horrible person, Ino thought. She'd been thinking about this a lot lately. She looked back on how Naruto was treated in the past. Well, what she knew about his treatment anyway, and realized that, even though she'd never actively been one of Naruto's tormentors, she'd never stuck up for him either. As her guilt about this fact grew, her thoughts about Naruto's possible opinion about her grew more and more depressing. Not to mention farther from the truth, but she didn't know that. Alright, that's it. I'm done turning a blind eye to how those people treat Naruto-san. The next time I see him, I'm gonna start being nicer to him. As Ino was lost in her thoughts, Sasuke arrived on the scene. He had his usual I'm an Uchiha so I'm better than you smirk stretched across his face and a sadistic glint in his eyes at the thoughts running through his mind. All of them entailed new ways of getting Naruto away from his friends long enough to destroy what little confidence he'd gained since he started to hang out with them. Well, that and how to get back at Hinata Hyuga, who'd started to sort of act like a bodyguard for the shy blonde when most of his friends weren't around. One day, you white-eyed bitch. One day, you're going to pay for making a fool out of me. The crazed Uchiha kept thinking whenever his thoughts drifted towards Hinata. Sasuke's fangirls all tried to ask him out, but he paid no attention to any of them. His goons all welcomed their onyx-eyed leader with the usual high fives, knuckle bumps, and pats on the back. Afterwards, Sasuke headed to class, closely followed by the rest of the group. Ino, on the other hand, was still too lost in her thoughts to notice that the others had left. But she was brought back to reality when someone accidentally ran into her. "Ow wow, watch where you're going, you little," Ino said before she realized who she was talking to. The person who had run into her was Hinata, who had been too determined to get to class before her latest prank set itself off to watch where she was going. Ino interrupted herself because she knew that Hinata had a reputation for pranking anyone she didn't like or who didn't like her. "Sorry about that. I didn't see where I was going," Hinata said as she got to her feet. "It's okay. I should have been paying attention," Ino said nervously, trying to not upset the mischievous Hyuga heiress. "Well, I'm still sore." "Oh, hello, Ino-san. I thought you'd be with your friends," Hinata said with a little venom. She knew all too well that a few of Sasuke's fangirls were former friends of Ino's. "Yeah, I don't really consider them friends. I was sick of watching them treat Naruto-san like that when he'd never done anything to them, so I finally decided to just stop hanging out with them." "Oh really? Then why didn't you ever stick up for Naruto then?" "Huh," Hinata said, not really believing her. "Well, I know, I should have said something. Believe me, I wanted to, but, well, I was scared, okay?" Ino replied. "Scared? Of what? What could you possibly have been scared of?" "Of what Naruto would say to me. I was afraid that he'd think I was just pitying him, and I was not looking forward to hearing him say something like that," Ino told Hinata. I guess I understand. If Naruto decides to forgive you, then I'll decide whether or not I will," Hinata said. Just as Hinata said this, said Shy Blonde arrived with his friends, each of them carrying a semi-large bag.
Naruto.
"How's your morning been so far?" Hinata said after she got over her initial surprise about the bags.
Ok Kakai.
Naruto responded nervously before stepping behind Shino a bit. What's wrong with me? Why do I get L like teach this around H Hinata-chan? I can't know I'm not scared of H her. Why do I get so nervous? Naruto wondered. "Naruto, don't you have something for her?" Shino asked, startling Naruto a bit at the abruptness of the question. Naruto nodded, then reached into the bag he was carrying, pulled out a present wrapped in lavender wrapping paper, stepped out from behind Shino, and bowed his head while handing it out to Hinata. She looked from the present to Naruto and back again, then stepped forward, took the present, and hugged Naruto. "Thanks, Naruto-kun," she told him. Naruto was too surprised by the hug and her adding the "kun" part to respond. All he could do was stand there and blush as his mind started to get foggy. She's hugging me," Naruto thought as he blacked out. "Naruto, are you okay?" "Naruto?" Hinata asked before she let him go. As soon as Hinata let go, Naruto's limp body fell to the ground with a thud. When Naruto hit the ground, Hinata started to panic, afraid that she'd killed him or something. "Damn it, Hyuga. You know what Naruto gets like when you do stuff like that," Kiba yelled as he walked over to Naruto and tried to pick him up. "Don't just stand there. Give me a hand," Kiba snapped at his other friends. As soon as Kiba said this, Shino, Chuji, and Shikamaru started clapping. This caused a tick mark to appear on Kiba's forehead. "Real funny. Now help me." Shino and Chuji then walked over and helped Kiba pick the unconscious Naruto up. Kiba then looked at Shikamaru. "Well, aren't you gonna help us too?" "Sorry, Kiba. One of us has to let Irika-sensei know what happened," Shikamaru said lazily. "Fricking lazy-ass bastard," Kiba swore. The three boys then turned and left to take the unconscious Naruto to the nurse's office. Later, right before class starts, the entire class was causing a real ruckus. Most of them were complaining about having to be there on Christmas Eve. Others were just talking to their friends about what they might get. As this was happening, Naruto, Kiba, Chuji, and Shino walked into the classroom and were very surprised to see the chaos occurring. "Looks like none of them want to be here," Kiba said. "Can't be helped. They should just stop complaining and settle down before Irika-sensei and Mizuki-sensei show up," Chuji said. "Try telling them that." "Excuse me." Naruto stuttered, trying to get the class's attention. Nobody seemed to have heard him. They just kept up the ruckus. I don't know why, but I just love to say that word. "Excuse me," Naruto said, trying again. Same result. "What's up, little buddy?" Chuji asked. Naruto looked towards his large friend and he, Shino, and even Kiba instantly knew what Naruto wanted. "I'm on it, Naruto," Chuji said, taking a huge breath. "Shoot you up," he shouted at the top of his lungs, silencing the entire class. They all stared at Chuji, shocked that the young Akimichi had actually yelled without being called fatso or something like that. "Now that I've got your attention, I want to let you know that Naruto's got something for all of you," Chuji said calmly. The class started up again as soon as they heard this. Most of them were curious about what their shy classmate had for them. "Quiet," Kiba shouted. They all settled down again. "Go ahead, Naruto," Kiba said. Naruto then excused himself for a second and walked back in holding 5 bags that looked like they were full to bursting. SS since it's CC Christmas Eve. I'd thought I'd.
Vuvuel.
You. Naruto stuttered out before putting the bags down and slinking behind Shino, his nerves getting the better of him. "I'd like to give you all a present," Naruto said to them. The entire class started talking amongst themselves again. Tired of forcing them to stop, Naruto and his friends just started taking the presents out of the bags and handing them out. But, just as they were almost finished, Sasuke decided to run his mouth. "Why are we even taking these things? Knowing how poor neglected Naruto is, these gifts are all probably crappy little pieces of gift shop shit," Sasuke exclaimed before throwing his to the ground and stepping on it. "Shut up, Uchiha team." Naruto worked really hard to Kiba started, but was interrupted by the sound of multiple objects hitting the ground at once. Almost everyone else in the class was following Sasuke's example, throwing their presents from Naruto to the ground and stepping on them. Kiba was livid. Chuji looked like he was about to put Sasuke in the hospital. Shikamaru actually had an angry look on his face, and Shino, well, everyone could hear a buzzing sound coming from him. As the rest of the class continued stomping on the gifts Naruto got for them, Hinata had had enough. "What the hell are all of you doing? Do you have any idea how much thought Naruto put into this?" Hinata shouted before getting up and standing beside Naruto. "Why the hell should we care? Sasuke-kun's right. For all we know, these things could be worthless." Sakura shouted at her loud Banshee's daughter volume before picking up her present and throwing it at Naruto. The present impacted with Naruto's head with the sound of glass hitting a human skull. Whatever Naruto got Sakura, it was obviously made of glass. As soon as it hit Naruto's head, it bounced off his head, none too lightly, I might add, and landed on the shy blonde's foot. Some cuts could be seen on the visible areas that the present affected, and Naruto looked like he was about to cry. Ino, one of the only ones who decided not to follow Sasuke's example, put her gift down gently, then stood up, walked over to Sakura and slapped her hard. "Sakura, I'm surprised at you. So what if it's not an expensive gift? With how you've all treated Naruto-san. You're lucky he even chose to get you anything," Ino yelled at the pinkette. "Shut the hell up, Ano pig. He gave it to me, so I can do what I want with it. Besides, why do you care?" "I care because Naruto-san has never done anything wrong to any of you. He's never been mean to any of you, yet you all treat him like shit, and I'm done just turning a blind eye to it all. As the two girls continued their argument, Sasuke was sneaking over towards Ino's seat. Just as he was about to reach out and grab the present Ino put down, a kunai knife zipped by and nearly cut him on the back of his hand. "I saw that. You filthy damn little snake. Don't even think about it," Kiba shouted. Sasuke looked at Kiba, a fake innocent-looking smile. "I have no idea what you're talking about. You're lying through your frickin' teeth. You were planning on destroying that gift or doing something else with it. So what if I am? What are you going to do about it? You couldn't beat me if I had one hand tied behind back. You really think so? Prove it, unless you're as much of a chicken as that stupid haircut of yours indicates. That's it." Sasuke ran up and tried to punch Kiba, only for Kiba to duck and punch him square in his jaw as hard as he could, knocking the Uchiha on his ass. The entire class was deathly quiet with shock. Sasuke stood up and glared at Kiba. "Outside. Now!" Sasuke shouted at the young Inuzuka.
No.
Why the—" Kiba socked the Uchiha in the face, hard. Sasuke fell to the ground again and put his hand to his nose from the pain. When he pulled it back, he saw blood. That fucking bastard. Even if it is just a nosebleed, that worthless peon made me bleed, Sasuke thought, his mind swimming with rage. "Forget about taking this outside. I'm gonna kick your ass right here, right now," Sasuke screamed before charging at Kiba. Sasuke pulled out a kunai knife mid-charge and threw it right at Kiba. Said Inuzuka dodged the kunai, only for Sasuke to kick him in the gut followed by a punch to his chin, then grab him by the hair on the back of his head and slam the young Inuzuka's face into his knee. Naruto moved to intervene, but was stopped by Shino. "SS Shino? WHWH what Ryu?" Shino interrupted the shy blonde by holding his hand up. "I know that you're worried about him, Naruto-san, but your concern is unnecessary. Kiba-san can take care of himself. You just go to the nurse's office and get some bandages on those cuts," Shino told him. But. "Nobats. Hinata-san, could you please take Naruto-san to the nurse's office for us?" "You? Sure." Hinata dragged Naruto out of the room while Shino looked back and focused on the fight. Even though Sasuke was supposedly one of the toughest kids in the class, Kiba was holding his own. Sasuke threw a punch, but Kiba merely caught the young Uchiha's fist with his left hand and struck back with a punch of his own. Sasuke ducked and delivered a kick to Kiba's vulnerable left side. As soon as the Uchiha's foot made contact, Kiba jumped away and threw 2 shuriken at him. Using this as a distraction, Kiba crouched down and made a single hand sign. Please let it work this time, he thought. "Ninpu, beast mimicry, Sikyaku no Jutsu," Kiba shouted. Immediately after, Kiba started to give off more chakra as his fingernails grew into claws. "It worked? It worked. I finally pulled off the Shikyaku no Jutsu," he shouted in his mind. "Here I come, Sasuke team," Kiba shouted before he disappeared in a burst of speed. Where the hell'd you?" Sasuke said before Kiba appeared in front of him and slammed his right shoulder right into Sasuke's body at a high speed. The impact from the hit sent the Uchiha boy flying through a window. Since they were on the first floor, he landed safely. "Heh, piece of cake," Kiba said with a smirk before turning his back on Sasuke. "I'm not done yet, you stupid mutt." Kiba turned back around and saw Sasuke starting to stand up. He shot towards Sasuke like a bullet, pulling his clawed hand back to slash him. But, as he got closer, he saw Sasuke going through some hand signs. Thinking Sasuke was serious, Kiba zipped behind the young Avenger and slashed him across his back. "Gah, that's it. I'm through playing around," Sasuke shouted as he pulled out a kunai knife and tried to stab Kiba in the gut. Kiba easily evaded the attempted stab, dashed behind Sasuke again, and kicked him in the back of his head. Sasuke hit the ground hard and didn't get up. Kiba leaned down to check if the Uchiha was still breathing. Upon hearing Sasuke's heart beating, Kiba knew that said Avenger was still alive, just knocked out. And stay down, Kiba pointed at Sasuke and said before he stood back up. He turned his head to the left and faced the broken window. He saw that almost the entire class was staring at him with their eyes as wide as dinner plates. All right, Kiba. Way ta go, Chuji said as he jumped out the broken window to congratulate his friend, with Akamaru following close behind. Hinata and Naruto then walked back into the classroom and saw everyone else by the window. They walked over and through the crowd and were greeted with the sight of Sasuke unconscious on the ground with Kiba celebrating and Chuji talking to him. Naruto hopped through the broken window and walked towards his friend to congratulate him. But, just as he was halfway to his friends, he saw Sasuke abruptly get up on his knees and start making hand signs. He was faking. Kiba, Chuji, Akamaru, look out! Naruto shouted before running towards them as fast as his legs could carry him. Kiba, Chuji, and Akamaru all turned their heads in Naruto's direction in surprise when they heard him shout. Naruto never shouted, so they knew it was important. Kiba was curious, and he could tell Chuji and Akamaru were as well, so he decided to ask Naruto what he was shouting about. Naruto, what's?
Katon. Goukakyu no Jutsu.
Kiba turned and saw Sasuke using one of his clan's patented fire jutsu. Naruto then pushed him, Chuji, and even Akamaru to the side and was engulfed in the approaching fireball. Naruto, Chuji and Kiba both shouted simultaneously. The fireball soon dissipated, revealing a badly burned Naruto. Kiba ran to Naruto as fast as he could, extremely worried about his shy friend. Hinata jumped out the broken window and ran to Naruto as well.
And Naruto?
Can you hear me? Kiba said as he crouched down near him. Naruto didn't respond. Neither Kiba nor Hinata could even tell if Naruto was breathing, much less conscious.
And then Naruto?
Please, say something. Please, Naruto, Hinata said, crouching near Naruto as tears formed in her eyes. Hinata bent down further and put her ear over his heart. She heard it beating. It was a little fainter than she would have liked, but at least he was alive. He's alive, Hinata told Kiba, feeling very relieved. Hinata then started trying to wake Naruto up. While this was happening, Naruto's other friends, including Ino, all turned and glared at Sasuke, all of them far beyond angry. Seeing all the glares, Sasuke knew in the back of his mind that he was in serious trouble. Hinata and Kiba turned towards Sasuke and each sent him glares that were cold enough to freeze lava while, at the same time, heated enough to melt a mountain. That was all Sasuke managed to say before Kiba shot at him like a bullet and kicked him in the face, literally knocking one of his teeth down his throat. Hinata came up behind Kiba and hit Sasuke with a Juken-style slap right across his face and a Juken punch to his solar plexus. Kiba then took his turn and picked the Uchiha up by his shirt collar, lifted him up, and slammed his fist into Sasuke's gut as hard as he could, sending him flying into a nearby tree. Kiba ran up, then smashed his elbow into the young Uchiha's back as he tried to stand. Sasuke tried to stand up again, only for Kiba to plant his foot into the grounded Sasuke's chest. Hinata came over, nudged Kiba as if asking him to step aside, then started to repeatedly kick and punch Sasuke while he was down, not even bothering to let him get up. The rest of the class just looked on in shock. They knew that all of Naruto's friends were very protective of him, especially Kiba and Hinata, but they never thought that the two of them could be so vicious. What the hell is going on here? They heard someone shout. They turned and saw Irika staring at the scene in utter shock. Kiba and Hinata briefly stopped when they heard the Chunin shout, looked at him, then turned back towards Sasuke and glared, fully intent on beating him to death. But before they could inflict any more harm on the young Uchiha, Irika ran up and pulled the two of them away from him. What are you doing, sensei? Let me go. That bastard's gotta pay, Kiba shouted before Irika slapped him across the face. Kiba, calm down. Now I need you to tell me what happened. Irika told him. Kiba and Hinata then went on to explain everything to Irika. As the tale went on, Irika kept getting madder and madder. When he heard what Sasuke did to Naruto, he almost snapped. The look of rage on Irika's face was one that could terrify a pack of Yuko, demon foxes. Don't know if there are any plural forms for Japanese words. So badly that they'd be whimpering like wussy little kits. As soon as Kiba and Hinata finished, Irika turned towards the class, rage and disappointment evident on his face. Sasuke Uchiha, how the hell could you do that? I don't care if you're the last Uchiha. I'm going to see it that you get severe punishment, Irika said as he grabbed Sasuke by the scruff of the neck and began to carry him. Hinata then leaned down and hugged Naruto up to her body, protecting him from further harm.
Aki na Hinata?
She heard a quiet voice sputter in shock. Hinata looked down to see Naruto wide awake, staring at her with wide eyes and blushing so badly that, not only was he glowing, but he was glowing bright enough to make a Christmas tree look like a candle in comparison.
Naruto-kun.
I'm so glad you're okay, Hinata exclaimed before hugging Naruto again. As soon as Hinata hugged him again, Naruto's blush worsened. It could now make a Christmas tree look like a burnt-out match in comparison. Naruto started to get the urge to hug her back, but before he could even attempt to do so, everything started getting dark. Not now. Not now. Please, Naruto thought before blacking out. Naruto, are you okay? Hinata asked as she felt Naruto go limp in her arms. Hinata pulled back and saw that Naruto had passed out, just like he usually does when she hugs him. Fucking damn it, Hyuga, Kiba yelled. Sorry, Hinata exclaimed. Hate to interrupt, but I think Naruto should go to the hospital, Chuji said. Oh, right, I'll carry him, Hinata said. Oh hell no, if you carry him, and he wakes up, then he'll just faint again. I'll carry him, Kiba shouted. After arguing for about a minute, Hinata and Kiba agreed to work together to carry Naruto. The two of them then picked him up and made their way to the nearest hospital with Shino, Chuji, Shikamaru, and Ino, who grabbed her present first, following close behind. At the Hokage's office, Sarutobi was busy with some paperwork and complaining about having to do it at Christmas time when he heard someone knock at his door. Komein, he called and was surprised when Irika walked in carrying Sasuke.
Iruka-kun.
Why have you come? And why are you carrying Sasuke? Sarutobi asked. Steel your nerves, Hokage-sama. You're not gonna like this, Irika said before telling Sarutobi what happened in class earlier. He did what? The aged Hokage shouted loud enough for someone on the other side of the village to hear. Sasuke Uchiha, since you seem so intent on causing Naruto harm, I believe you won't mind paying for his medical expense when you do so. What? I don't have the kind of money to do that. Oh yes you do. It'll be taken out of the Uchiha clan account, which you will receive full access to when you either turn 16 or become a chunin. Outside Konoha, a merchant and his family were heading towards the Land of Wind when they heard someone's voice echo from the direction of Konoha. It's not fucking fair. What the hell was that, dearest? The merchant asked his wife, who just shrugged her shoulders. Back in Konoha in the hospital, Naruto was waking up, surprised to find himself in a hospital bed. Unfortunately, that surprise was soon replaced with searing pain. Get it? Searing. As in searing heat. Ha ha ha. Sorry. That was in bad taste. Naruto screamed in pain, still healing from his burns. As soon as Naruto screamed, Hinata, Kiba, Shino, Chuji, Shikamaru, and Ino busted down the door to his room and ran in. Naruto, you okay? Chuji asked. Not are really. I'm still in pain from getting burned, Naruto said. As soon as Naruto said that, Kiba, Chuji, and Akamaru all looked down, seemingly disappointed in themselves. You, Naruto, we're sorry you got hurt because of us, Kiba said. Yeah, we're sorry, Chuji said as Akamaru whimpered. It's okay. It's not your faults. I said it chose to save why you guys. Naruto said. Still, we should have been more cautious. Can you ever forgive us? Kiba said. If there's nothing to forgive. And you guys all say I apologize too much. Naruto joked. Everyone started to laugh lightly at Naruto's joke. After they all calmed down, Kiba spoke again. We're still sorry you got hurt. If there's anything we can do to make you feel any better, just say so. Kiba told Naruto. Yeah, anything you want from us, just name it, Chuji said.
Vuvuel.
There is one thing I've always wanted, Naruto said. What is it? Chuji asked his shy friend. I've always wanted to know who my parents were, Naruto said. We're on it, little buddy. Right guys? Kiba said. Shino, Chuji, and even Shikamaru all nodded in agreement. As soon as they agreed, Akamaru jumped off Kiba's head and on to Naruto's bed. The puppy walked up to Naruto, licked him in the face, and curled up next to the shy whiskered boy. I guess Akamaru agrees too, Choji said with a laugh. Count me in, Hinata said enthusiastically. Me too, and Naruto, I'm sorry about how I treated you before. You must think I'm a horrible person, Ino said. BB but, I don't. What? Ino exclaimed. I don't think you're a horrible person, Ino-san. I've already forgiven the fact that why you never stood up for me, Naruto told her. As Naruto said this, Ino couldn't believe her ears. Naruto had already forgiven her. Tears started to form in Ino's eyes as it hit her that all of her worrying was for nothing. Ino then ran up and hugged Naruto. Thank you, Naruto-san. I'm so relieved, Ino said while she cried. Naruto just sat there, confused. Why, you ask? Well, first of all, Ino was crying after hearing him tell her that he'd already forgiven her. Secondly, he wasn't feeling like he was about to pass out like he did every time Hinata held him. This just made Naruto even more curious about why Hinata had that effect on him. Still confused, Naruto finally decided to just return the hug and pat Ino on the back while doing so. It's alright, Ino-san. It's okay, he said. After about a minute, Ino finally calmed down and pulled back, wiping her tears on her shirt. Thanks, Naruto-san, Ino said. As Ino said this, a nurse walked in and knocked on the part of the wall next to the open door. Alright everyone, visiting hours are over. You all need to leave and give this pa, the nurse said, trailing off as she noticed that the patient was actually Naruto. The nurse glared at Naruto before looking back at the others and saying, My point is, you all need to leave. Now, she said before glaring at Naruto again and leaving, shutting the door behind her. Sorry, Naruto. We'll see ya tomorrow, Kiba said. Yeah, see ya, little buddy, Chuji said. Goodbye for today, Naruto-san, Shino said. Bye, Shikamaru just said. Bye, Naruto-san. We'll all visit you again tomorrow, Ino said. The others all walked out one by one until the only one left in the room with Naruto was Hinata. Hinata was just staring at Naruto, still unable to believe that he'd pulled together enough courage to do what he did. See you tomorrow, Naruto-kun, Hinata said. Naruto, completely surprised and blushing at the honorific Hinata added to his name, just nodded dumbly. SCYU tomorrow? Hinata Sete-chan. Naruto stuttered. Hinata leaned over and kissed Naruto on the cheek before turning and leaving. Naruto just sat there, completely stunned, blushing hard enough to make a lighthouse look like a dim light bulb. Naruto had one thought before he passed out for the 4th time that day. BB Best. HCH Christmas. Ever. Chapter 5. Poor Naruto. Don't feel too bad for him. Things will start looking up for him real soon. Chapter 6. Gasp, you made Sasuke and Sakura real monsters. I want to beat them down. Elvis voice, thank you very much. Ha ha ha. But in all seriousness, that was the response I wanted. Kage Bijou. This is a very epic chapter, that for sure. You really think so? Not gonna say 09. While the timing of these two chapters might be a little off Christmas in March, they were a blast to read. Seeing how hard Naruto worked to try to get acknowledgement from other people still shows a side of Naruto that most people are familiar with, and it works out well for your FIC. As an added bonus, Kiba got to knock the stuffing out of Sasuke, which is always fun to see. Another great pair of chapters. Yeah, well, I would have gotten out a lot sooner if WordPad hadn't kept glitching up and erasing M when I was almost done. Not only that, but my home computer's acting up. When I'm on it for about 3 hours, the monitor just goes blank for some reason and the keyboard stops working. Add that to all the crap I'm going through at home and all my schoolwork. I'm lucky it didn't take me till the end of this month to get chapters 5 and 6 out. Naruhinasakufin 1. Chapter 1. Awu, poor Naruto. Yeah, I'm still feeling bad about doing that to him. Chapter 2. Well, I think you pull off the whole Sasuke being a prick thing well off in my opinion. Why, thank you. I try my best. Chapter 3. I like how the story is going so far. Keep up the goose work, .. Why, thank you. I'm pretty happy with it myself. Chapter 4. OMG man, you made Naruto and Hinata switch personalities, man. I can't wait to see how this turns out. I give your story a 10 out of 10, very good my friend, lol. I think that's a bit a stretch, but I thank you nonetheless. Chapter 5. Pretty good chap. Thanks, I appreciate it. Chapter 6. Ma'am, I can't wait to see the next chap. I so wanna know how Hinata and Naruto are gonna end up together. But make Hinata kick Sasuke's ass again. This time et Hinata kick him in the balls and make him limb home crying ha 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 ha. Good to know you liked it. And about that whole Hinata kicking Sasuke in the balls thing, that's actually been suggested a lot. So, if you guys want to see that so badly, I'll seriously consider obliging. Bookworm 666. Great story. Blushes, ah come on. Can't be that great. Adengo 714. Unbelievable. I thought in your FIC, Sasuke is a jerk. But he's far worse than that. I guess I'll take that as a compliment. Okazaki 323. It was really good. I like the Naruhina so far. Sasuke's such a douche. Please don't let Ino start liking him. And if she does, please don't let Naruto ever have any feelings for her. 'Cause Fics where Naruto has multiple wives suck. I don't think you would ever do that though. My only qualm is that you're a little too harsh on Sasuke. I think he's a little too douchey. Like, he's a douche, but I think he should spend a bit more time brooding rather than making fun of Naruto. You shouldn't change your writing style. It's got good flow and isn't hard to read. Overall, these two chaps get an August 5th 10. Thanks. And don't worry, I'm almost positive that I'll never have Ino have feelings towards Naruto. The main reason for that is the no harem condition of the challenge. But I noticed, there's no rule about one-sided love pairings. So if, and I do mean if, I ever do have Ino start liking Naruto like that, it'll definitely be one-sided. And now we get to Sasuke. I guess I could make him a bit less of a douche later on. All I can tell you is that, for now, it is absolutely necessary for me to keep making Sasuke look like this. Chapter 6. Great story, and I must say I find it impressive that you put all that work into answering the reviews. Blushes, hehe. Calms down ahem. At least somebody appreciates my hard work on the review responses. Third notice. I can't wait to read what will happen next, and you should ignore people like Nameless Power. They are too busy taking a bus out of their ass to notice a good story. Thanks for saying so. By the way, I already do. And thanks for the compliment. Hitman Reiji. Well, you got the personality right, but you have to consider that he will start to outrun the villagers that go after him, and the character interaction is kind of corny. Try making it a more serious FIC if you want more readers. I'm not flamming or anything, just trying to give you advice. Thanks for the advice. Since this is my first solo FIC, seeing as I'm co-writing the other two on my profile with other authors, I'm really nervous about it. Not only that, but I'll admit that I can be a bit defensive when somebody else just bad talks it without even mentioning something they like about it. Duck Rogers. Chapter 5. About time, man. Anyway, good chapter, but you should stop with the excessive letters. Example? www what? Just don't do too many. Naruto is shy, he doesn't have a stuttering disorder. A little harsh, dude, but I guess you're right. But don't worry, his stuttering will be toned down a lot after the time skip. Except when he's around Hinata, that is. Chapter 6. Another good one, but same issue I stated in the last review. Especially the last sentence of this chapter. Why would he stutter in his mind? But good chapter, keep it up. Dude, the girl he's crushing on, even if he hasn't figured it out for sure, yet, kissed him. His mind went into overload. Why else would he stutter it, even if it's in his mind before passing out? And by the way, wouldn't your mind go into overload in that same situation? Silent Singer 948. Chapter 5. Great chapter. Blushes a little thanks. Chapter 6. Sasuke sure got his ass kicked. It was wonderful. Glad Ino is going to be nicer to Naruto. Great chapter. Blushes, thanks for saying so. I really appreciate it. Not worth effort to flogin. I was looking forward to an entertaining and thought-provoking story, but it appears I've made a huge mistake. First, Naruto was never beaten, just ignored. And your opening scene was just idiotic and overly dramatic. Second, why do you keep interrupting the narrative? If it's important, explain Ithro the story. Don't stop to tell the reader what it is. Third, you tell the reader what's going on in a very childish manner. Instead, strive to paint a picture where the reader can see what's happening, feel what's happening, and make connections to the characters. Telling us what a character is thinking in quotes does not a connection or even character depth make. Though this may come across as a flame review, it is not my intention to be own. Rather, pointing out the overused cliché and attempting to guide another writer in painting a narrative and not rushing to tell a story. Flesh out your characters. Make them believable. How an individual reacts Tathos in her environment can show the workings of the character's mindset, even how they grew up and under what conditions they grew up. Think, what would your Naruto do in this situation, or that? Really dive into the minds of your characters and have the act naturally to their upbringing and nature. I have no idea if you managed to incorporate some of these previously mentioned techniques. I just cannot muster the desire to check past the first few lines of Chapter 2. If you have, well done. But you should then go back and fix your first few chapters to reader will be enticed to read to full story. It's an excellent idea for a story. I hope to come across this again one day and be able to read it in its entirety. Good luck, and Godspeed, young writer. Before, a review like this one would have pissed me off so badly I'd start ranting angrily, swearing, and making threats, but I'm way past caring about anybody who chooses to just slam my work without talking about anything in the chapter that they liked. And at least I got some advice on how to improve. By the way, your anonymous sig makes you sound like a Nara.
Rasakra Nara.
Very nice. I enjoyed both chapter. Keep up the good work. Blushes a little, thanks for saying so. I worked really hard on both of them. Ryan Shadow 19. That was such a great chapter, please update soon. Blushes harder, hee. Calms down ahem, thanks. And don't worry about the updates. I'm doing the best that I can with what I've got. Jaikabu Kudai Tairu. Awesome chapter, good luck on the next one. Blushes hehehe. Ahem. Why thank you. Zenturi. Nice chapter, can't wait to read the second part. Sorry this was a late review on account of finals and other things. Thanks for the compliment. By the way, I don't mind that it took you so long to read it.
Dragonman 180.
How did Naruto recover so quickly from Sasuke's fireball so quickly? Even with Kyuubi healing him, that's a bit much. Also, since Naruto is so shy, if you have him access the fox's chakra, I think the fox should be his friend or an older sibling figure. First of all, I never said Naruto had recovered from the fireball. I only said that he was conscious. I never said he's healed. By the way, that's a relationship I was thinking about having Naruto and the fox have later on. But I wasn't sure if my readers would like it. Total Gear Head. Sup Ricky. Just so you know, I had to change everything on my profile, including my pen name. You might remember my story, Hinata's Dream Day. My old pen name was Broel on to the review. I absolutely love this story. You have made a much more realistic Naruto universe with Naruto being the shy one. But I think you should make Hinata a bit shyer, not when it comes to everyone, but just when her and Naruto are alone, like the last scene, some sort of inner debate on had to do before she kissed him, just to add more of a three-dimensional set of her characteristics. The way you did it was great, and I am in no way flaming you or trying to change your way of writing your story, but just an idea. Oh hey, good at hear from ya, dude.
I've missaid ya.
Thanks for the kind words and the heads up. I'm really just trying to finish the pre-graduation chapters, so I'm not paying much attention to stuff like that. I'll go back and improve that, along with some other stuff from the other chapters, later. Snigio Samara. I've got to say, this is definitely a great FIC. I've read a few role reversal fics like Tiz, but this one is definitely in my top 3 spots. And I must say that was one of the best Sask is Susu F **** ed moments I've read in a while. I had chills, while at the same time laughing my *** off. Definitely looking forward to the next chapter.
Yane.
Blushes he. Thanks for saying so. A lot of people on this site have been telling me this is a good FIC, but I have a hard time believing it myself. Then again, I'm not very good at accepting compliments. Calms down also. I'm happy you like that. Sasuke is Susu F *** ed moment. I put a lot of hard work into chapters 5 and 6, especially the parts that led up to and followed that moment. Echo Uchiha. Chapter 1. Awesome. Why thank you. I was wondering when you'd read this and leave a review. Chapter 2. Love it. Glad to hear it. Chapter 3. Cool. I'm happy you think so. Chapter 4. Awesome. Wow. 2 for 2. Nice. Chapter 5. Sweet. At least someone thought so. Do you people have any idea how hard it is for me to write warm and fuzzy feeling worthy moments? It's hard. I usually try to hide it when I feel emotions like that. I mainly do so because I'm not good at expressing them. Chapter 6. Cool. Another 2 for 2. First notice. I can help PM me. Well, at least I have another person that I know I can talk to when I have a problem with ideas. Second notice. Okay. Good to know that you don't mind. Third notice. It's already finished. Yeah, sorry about that. I blushes accidentally posted the wrong notice for the third one. Probably should have deleted the second notice from my document manager before trying to post the third one. By the way, I noticed that you seem to really like writing short reviews. And I, for one, am okay with that. Ricky. Alright, it's finally show time. Oh, to any assholes out there who are like nameless power, you can go fuck yourselves for all I care. And if you're not down with that, I got just 2 words for ya. Everyone, suck it. Disclaimer. Look at my name on my profile and see for yourself. BTW, really getting tired of doing one of these for every chapter. So, I've decided to make this disclaimer one for this chapter and all that'll follow it. Talking. Thinking. Emphasis on certain words. Inner, that little voice inside your head. No, not like a bijou inside a jinchuriki. Talking. Inner thinking. Demonic voice or evil voice talking, which includes a jinchuriki's feral, almost demonic voice when he/she's using their bijou's chakra, but are still in control. Demonic voice or evil voice thinking, see above. Author talking. Dream and nightmare-based flashbacks when skipping back and forth between them and reality. Naruto, Life of a Shy Jinchuriki. Chapter 7. The fox snaps and the viper gets struck. It was 2 months after the incident on Christmas Eve and Naruto was just getting out of the hospital. After checking out, Naruto went on his way to meet up with his friends. So far, Kiba and the others had yet to find out anything about Naruto's father. But, despite this setback, they had managed to find out his mother's name. Oka-san,
Kakushina Uzumaki.
Naruto thought. Naruto was happy that he finally knew something about at least one of his parents. From what Kiba and the others managed to dig up, Naruto's mom had been a strong kunoichi, a former ANBU, a bit of a tomboy, and had been known for having a bit of a temper. Naruto was sure he hadn't inherited any personality traits or skills from her, but the fact that he actually knew something about her more than sufficed. I wish I could have met her, Naruto thought sadly. Naruto may not have known what she looked like, but Kiba and the others had that covered. One reason why he was going to meet up with them was because earlier that day, his friends said they had something they wanted to give him but refused to say what it was. As Naruto ran down the streets with a shy, happy smile on his face, a thought crossed his mind. Did you really want me, Oka-san? Naruto shook this thought out of his mind and tried to focus on the positives. At least he now knew who she was, right? Naruto was close to the training grounds, where he'd agreed to meet up with them. Naruto went through the chain-link fence, surprised to see that he was early. "Gee guys, are you here yet?" Naruto called out. Naruto walked farther in when someone grabbed him and threw him into a nearby tree. "Arg," Naruto grunted, closing his eyes in pain before the person slammed their fist into his gut. Naruto opened his eyes and saw Sasuke and his 12 goons right in front of him. Naruto started to panic. What why? Shove it, Uzumaki. Since your bodyguards aren't here right now, you've got no one to protect you. Sasuke shouted at Naruto before grabbing him by his shirt collar and pulling, throwing him to the ground. Sasuke then kicked Naruto in the gut as hard as he could before stepping on him, pressing him into the ground. "Like the taste of dirt, Uzumaki? Then have some more," Sasuke said before lifting his foot and stomping on Naruto. Sasuke took his foot off Naruto and turned towards his goons. "Half of you hold him down and the other half whoop his ass," the Uchiha shouted. They then proceeded to do just that. They kicked Naruto anywhere that wasn't blocked by the ground, stomped on him, and overall beat Naruto to a pulp. "Cut that out." They all turned to see Hinata glaring at them. "Let him go," Hinata shouted as she activated her Byakugan. Sasuke's goons all flinched as the Hyuga heiress activated her Kekii Genkai. "Man up, you wimps. There are 13 of us and one of her. Even if 2 of you hold Uzumaki down, we can take her," Sasuke shouted at them. When Sasuke's goons heard him say this, they all got an evil glint in their eyes. Then all but 2 of the ones who'd pinned Naruto down got up and walked to the others. Sasuke then turned towards the other 2 and said, "Make sure Uzumaki watches this." The 2 who had Naruto pinned grabbed his head, angled it upwards, and held it in place, forcing Naruto to watch. Naruto was forced to watch as Sasuke and his goons then spread out and surrounded Hinata. As soon as they had Hinata surrounded, they all ran in all at once to attack her. Sasuke threw a punch at Hinata. She sidestepped the blow, only for one of Sasuke's goons to kick her in the back from behind. Every time Hinata tried to dodge a hit, for more came her way. The way Sasuke and his goons were beating Hinata resembled a pack of hyenas attacking a wildebeest. "Stop!" Naruto shouted. Sasuke and his goons turned and looked at him. They saw tears forming in Naruto's eyes, then turned and continued to beat Hinata. "I said Estiodesh," Naruto started to say before one of the goons got on top of him, cupped his hand to Naruto's mouth, silencing him. Sasuke turned to him and said, "Shut up. First her, then you." Sasuke then continued his hand in the beating. Naruto, for the first time that he could remember, was angry. And this wasn't any ordinary anger. No, this was the kind of anger that, if given physical form, would haunt veteran Jounin's nightmares. Meanwhile, something stirred within the seal on his stomach. Inside the seal. Inside a sewer-like area and behind a massive cell door with a slip of paper with the kanji for seal written on it, two crimson-red eyes with cat-like slits for pupils opened up, piercing through the semi-darkness of the area. The creature that the eyes belonged to was none other than the Kyuubi no Kitsune, the strongest bijou in existence. Now, that is. Hehehe, looks like I underestimated the kid. He really can get mad. I'd say this is as good a time as any to see what the kit's really capable of," the old fox said in its booming baritone voice. The Kyuubi then proceeded to send a small, dark red stream of chakra out through the seal. "Let's see how much the kid can handle before he snaps and gives in to his impulses." Outside the seal, Naruto was trying to free himself from the two goons who pinned him down when he looked again and really took in the scene before him. Hinata was being beaten by a crowd after trying to protect him. To Naruto, this was like a scene out of one of his nightmares. Suddenly, Naruto felt something spring up within him and, for some reason, one of the worst nightmares he'd ever had begun to flash before his eyes. He was pinned to a wall by some kunai with no means of escape and a crowd of villagers closing in. The villagers began to cut and beat him anywhere they could reach. Minutes later, Naruto was covered in so many cuts and bruises that even those close to him might not recognize him right away. Naruto flinched and began shaking in fear as the image flashed through his mind. Suddenly, Kiba and the rest of his friends, along with Irika, arrived on the scene. "Leave him alone," Irika shouted. "Yeah, what's Naruto ever done to you?" Kiba shouted. "Do you even need to ask? This little demon took our friends, comrades, and families from us," one of the shinobi in the crowd shouted. The crowd then turned their attention on Irika and the others.
No.
Naruto thought as a strange red chakra started to slowly seep out of him. The crowd then proceeded to beat them to death. They got Chuji like a fish, beat Shikamaru like a piñata, and hung Shino up by his neck while they cut him up like salami. Stop, Naruto pleaded, the chakra flaring outward and growing in quantity as his whisker marks grew more refined. They threw Kiba into a nearby wall, then hung him by his legs and cut his limbs off one by one, decapitating him as soon as he hit the ground. "CC, cut it out," Naruto exclaimed as his fingernails grew into claws and his canines extended. They impaled Irika on a dull pike and stabbed him while they watched him bleed to death. "Stop it," Naruto shouted in his mind. The crowd then turned their attention to Hinata. They ripped her eyes out of her head and then began to give her all the treatment that they gave the others. "I said," Naruto thought, opening his eyes to reveal slitted, crimson-red colored spheres in place of the usual deep ocean blue. "Stop!" Naruto shouted in rage. When Naruto shouted, the red chakra that was now pouring out of him spiked, releasing a small shockwave that blew the two goons on top of him clean off, sending each of them flying into a tree. When they heard Naruto shout, Sasuke and his goons all looked in Naruto's direction. They then saw a sight that made about 5 of them crap their pants. The normally shy, kind, quiet, would never harm a fly Naruto Uzumaki that they were used to was glaring at them with demonic-looking eyes that were filled to bursting with what could only be described as anger, hate, and pure, concentrated rage. Before any of them could even attempt to even speculate what could have brought about this change, Naruto, adrenaline pumping through his body like water from a flood rushing through a floodgate, disappeared from their sight in a burst of speed. Less than a second later, Naruto was right next to Sasuke, kicking the Uchiha boy off of Hinata and into a training post. Ugh! Sasuke grunted in pain. Sasuke looked up and saw that Naruto was already in front of him again. Naruto picked Sasuke up by his shirt collar and sunk his fist deep into his tormentor's gut. As soon as Naruto's fist made contact, Sasuke was sent flying about 5 feet into the air. As Sasuke fell, Naruto caught the Avenger by the back of his shirt collar before he hit the ground. Swinging his arm upwards, then jerking it back down abruptly, Naruto threw him to the ground. Then the enraged blonde turned his attention towards the goon squad. As soon as Naruto looked in their direction, the 5 boys who craped their pants ran scared. But unfortunately for them, they didn't get far. Naruto appeared right in front of them, stopping the 5 boys dead in their tracks. Naruto stood there for only a moment before running forward and sinking his fist deep into the nearest boy's solar plexus. As the first boy fell to the ground in pain, the rest of Sasuke's goons ran in to try and help. What happened next was nothing short of a mass ass-whooping. Naruto kicked the boy on the ground in the chest like a normal person would kick a pebble on the ground, sending the boy flying towards the group. Then, in a burst of speed, Naruto zipped into the center of the group, gave a slight hop, and kicked the 2 boys nearest to him in the face. The 2 boys fell unconscious before they even hit the ground. One of the boys behind Naruto threw a punch at the back of the blonde's head, only for Naruto to tilt his head towards the side to evade the blow and slam his elbow into the boy's stomach. Naruto grabbed the boy's wrist and flung him forward into one of the others in front of him. Then, the normally shy and timid blonde just looked at them all with a bored but angry look plastered on his face. "Is that all you got?" Naruto asked with a sneer. 3 of the boys on Naruto's left side ran in and tried to tackle him to the ground, only for Naruto to jump, kick one of them in the chin and slam the other 2 boys' heads together, knocking all 3 boys out cold. Sasuke, having finally gotten up and shaken the cobwebs out of his head, ran forward to fight alongside his underlings. Sasuke looked around in utter shock. Naruto had taken down 7 of his goons in under a minute, not counting the 2 who each got flung into a tree when Naruto had shouted. In just under a minute, this fight had gone from 13 against 1 to 4 against 1. What the hell are you?" Sasuke asked. Naruto turned his head in Sasuke's direction, but he didn't answer. But as soon as he looked at Sasuke, the sneer left his face and was replaced by raw fury, sort of like the kind of look you'd get from a fox or a wolf if you harmed a member of its pack. Growling, Naruto growled loudly, making the 4 boys jump with fright. "SS Sasuke, this don't look good," one of the goons said. "I say we run," one of the others said. As soon as he said this, Naruto made his move. He shot forward faster than a bullet fired from a gun and punched the first goon in the face, sending the boy flying into the training post Sasuke had been near just a moment ago. As soon as the boy made contact with it, the post bent slightly and splintered. Naruto then turned his attention towards the others. The boy who'd suggested that they run tried to do just that, only for Naruto to appear behind him, grab him by his shirt collar and swing his arm over, slamming the cowardly little goon into the ground back first. The boy's head bounced against the ground, knocking him out like a burnt-out light bulb. Sasuke and his last flunky ran forward to try and double-team Naruto. Sasuke tried to sweep Naruto's feet out from under him while his flunky tried to punch the blonde boy in the face. But this failed miserably. Naruto merely dodged both the hits by hopped up, caught the other boy's fist, landed on Sasuke's leg, and threw the other boy on top of him. Naruto then kicked Sasuke in the gut, sending both of them skidding away. As soon as Sasuke's goon tried to stand up, Naruto shot forward and kicked him in the face, busting his nose and rendering him unconscious. Then, Naruto turned his attention to Sasuke. Naruto shot forward and kicked the bane of his existence, aka Sasspunk, in the face and planted his foot on his chest. With his foot firmly planted on the Uchiha boy's chest, Naruto began to press down on him into and stomp on him. Arg! Ugh! Ack! Sasuke screamed in agony. After about a minute, Naruto stopped and Sasuke tried to speak. Asterisk cough asterisk p please.
Ash.
Have mercy. Sasuke pleaded, coughing up a little blood as he spoke. As soon as Sasuke said this, Naruto looked down on him. Pathetic, Naruto said, causing Sasuke's eyes to widen in shock and anger. What did you say dash? Naruto pressed his foot down harder, silencing the Uchiha. Shut up, you cowardly worm. You think that's painful? You think that hurts? Try lasting a day in my life, Naruto shouted as he took his foot off of Sasuke's chest. Naruto then reached down and grabbed Sasuke by his throat. Ugh! As soon as he had a good grip on, Naruto lifted the Uchiha boy as high off the ground as he could, so that Sasuke had to look down at Naruto to look him in the eyes. Now listen and listen well. I don't care what you do to me, but from this day on you leave my friends out of it. If you so much as look at one of them the wrong way, I'll make what I've done to you and your pathetic cronies today look like a little slap on the wrist. Do you understand? Naruto shouted in rage, squeezing Sasuke's throat as he talked. As Naruto held him up by his throat, Sasuke couldn't help but quake in fear at the sight before him. This was not the Naruto he knew. Sasuke wasn't sure if Naruto had been faking it the whole time or if he'd finally snapped. But if the look on the blonde's face and the almost crazed look in his eyes were any clue, the latter definitely seemed to be the correct answer. Frightened, confused, and losing control of his bowels, Sasuke nodded. Good, Naruto said before throwing Sasuke to the ground and kicking him in the gut. Now beat it, Naruto roared at the top of his lungs. At that, Sasuke stumbled to his feet as fast as he could and ran home, scared senseless. As soon as Sasuke was out of sight, Naruto, breathing hard from shouting like that, started to calm down. As Naruto composed himself, the red chakra began to recede. The adrenaline pumping through him slowed to a crawl, and his appearance returned to normal. WH what was that? Naruto thought in surprise as he looked down at his hands. Naruto looked up to see Hinata staring at him in shock, and a little bit of fear as well. Naruto blushed when he saw Hinata staring at him.
Hinata Suisa-chan.
Are you okay? Naruto asked as he walked towards her. Hinata shook herself back to reality as soon as she heard Naruto's voice. She then looked at Naruto again and saw that he was back to his old self again.
Naruto-kun.
Teach, that was so awesome. You gotta show me how you do that.
Semoen, Naruto Kyuubi.
Please, Hinata yelled while glomping Naruto. Glomp, a running tackle hug. You see them in a lot of anime, definition reference. Zatsu the Beast. Naruto froze up as soon as Hinata glomped him. He felt his face heat up.
Hinata-chan Islandia.
She's hugging me, Naruto thought before he passed out. Hinata felt Naruto go limp in her arms.
And Naruto-kun. Naruto-kun.
Oh man, Kiba's gonna kill me if he sees this, she said when she pulled back and saw Naruto unconscious. Later. Kiba, Ino, Chuji, Shino, and Shikamaru were talking amongst themselves while they walked towards the training grounds to meet up with Naruto. I cannot wait to see the look on Naruto's face when he sees this, Ino exclaimed, holding up a small, thin box. He'd better like it. I mean, we didn't go through all that effort to find it and get it for him to not like it. And you guys know how much I hate effort, Shikamaru said lazily. I never want to see another textbook again as long as I live, Kiba yelled. Then you're in bad luck, Kiba-san. We still have about 3 years or so before graduation, Shino pointed out. I know, and I freaking hate that, Kiba exclaimed angrily. They soon arrived at the training grounds and were met with a sight they never thought they'd see. Sasuke's goon squad scattered all over the field, each and every one of them unconscious. One of them was out cold while leaning against a slightly bent and splintered wooden training post. 2 others each leaning against a tree in the opposite direction of the other. One with a bleeding broken nose, one with a seemingly fractured jaw, and 2 piled on top of each other. To top it all off, the group discovered that 5 of them craped their pants. "What the devil?" Kiba said in surprise. "What happened here? It looks like small Twister came through this place," Chuji exclaimed. I believe that they might know something about all this," Shino said while pointing to the right. The others all turned their heads in the direction Shino was pointing in and saw Naruto and Hinata. Naruto was out cold and leaning against a tree while Hinata was lightly slapping him in an attempt to wake him up. "Think she had something to do with this?" Kiba asked, looking at Chuji. "Who? Hinata-san?" he asked. Kiba nodded. "Most likely," Chuji said as they all walked towards them.
Naruto-kun. Come on, Naruto-kun.
"Please wake up before he gets here," Hinata pleaded. "Before who gets here?" "Before Kiba gets here. Duh, UID Kiba? When did you get here?" Hinata said as she turned around and saw Kiba and the others. "Long enough." "Exactly how long is that?" "Enough to see Naruto knocked out and you panicking while trying to wake him up," Kiba said, sounding a little pissed. Yeah. Funny story. Well, it kinda has to do with why Sasuke's goon squad is here, unconscious, and scattered around the area," Hinata said nervously. "We're listening," Kiba said, clearly irritated. Hinata then proceeded to tell them what happened. Everything from her finding Naruto in trouble to him fainting when she hugged him. "Wow. Just, wow," Shino said. "Yeah, who would have thought Naruto had it in him?" Chuji said in surprise. I'm not buying it. How do we know she's not lying?" Kiba said. "Kiba, I swear on both my eyes and my mother's grave that it's all true," Hinata said. This surprised everyone because, for someone from a clan with a Dojutsu, basically an eye-based Kekkei Genkai, to swear on their eyes was basically the equivalent of a lifetime promise. FYW, this idea was inspired by another FIC and I just felt compelled to use it. If the author of that FIC doesn't approve of me using it, then just tell me and I'll remove it. "If that what's all true?" Naruto asked, having finally woken up. "Oh, all that stuff about how you clobbered Sasuke and his goons Naruto," Kiba said before his eyes widened in surprise. "Wait, Naruto? How long ago did you been awake?" they all asked. "I just woke up," Naruto simply said. "Oh, well, okay, then," Kiba said. "So, was Hinata-san telling the truth?" Ino asked. About what?" "About you doing all this to the goon squad, whooping Sasuke, and sending him crying home with his tail between his legs?" Chuji asked excitedly.
Wait.
"Ish that wasn't a D-dream?" Naruto asked nervously as looking towards Hinata, as if he expected her to answer. Hinata just nodded her head confusedly when Naruto looked towards her. As soon as Hinata verified this, Naruto fainted from shock. "I guess we can take that as a yes," Shikamaru said as he pulled a little bottle out of his pocket. "What the hell is that stuff?" Hinata asked. "Just watch and find out," Shikamaru said as he opened it. After the bottle, Shikamaru held it under Naruto's nose. A second later, Naruto jolted up. What happened?" Naruto asked. "You fainted after you found out that what you did to Uchiha-san and his minions was not a dream," Shino replied. "Oh," Naruto said, blushing bright red. "Please don't faint again, Naruto-san." "Why?" "'Cause we've got something for you," Ino said in a sing-song voice. What is it?" "Open it up and find out," Ino said teasingly before handing Naruto the small box she was holding. Naruto opened the box and looked inside. As soon as he saw what it was, he started to cry tears of joy. Inside the box was a framed picture of a woman with fiery red hair, a warm smile, violet eyes, and was gently rubbing her engorged stomach. Is this? That's right, Naruto-san. That's a picture of your Ka-chan. Ino said kindly. Hope you like it, 'cause you have got no idea what we had to go through to get that. Shikamaru said with a smile. Tach, thank you, everyone. Naruto said, trying to hold back his tears. Any time, buddy, Kiba said. Later that night, inside the seal, Naruto opened his eyes and was shocked to see that he was inside a corridor that resembled a passageway in a sewer. I don't understand. 1 second I'm lying down to go to sleep after putting that picture of my Ooka-san on my bedside table. And then to the end next I wake up in a sewer. Naruto thought, completely baffled. Just as this thought crossed Naruto's mind, he heard a loud, low roar echo from farther down the corridor. Naruto jumped with fright as soon as he heard the sound. WHWH, what WW was that? Naruto asked nervously. Suddenly, he heard a voice call to him in a booming, baritone voice.
Come, Naruto.
Come here. The voice beckoned, making Naruto shake with fear. WHWH, who are you? Naruto asked, afraid to get an answer. Just come to me, and all will be revealed, the voice called back. Still scared, but overflowing with curiosity, Naruto followed the voice. Within minutes, Naruto came across a big open area. Looking around, all Naruto could see besides the walls was a massive cell-like door with a slip of paper with the kanji for seal written on it.
Ashashelo?
Naruto called out nervously. Over here, Naruto heard the voice call again. Upon hearing the voice call out again, Naruto realized that the voice was coming from behind the enormous cell door. That's right, Kit, over here.
Come closer.
Called out. Naruto took a few steps closer to the massive cell door. Closer, the voice called again. Naruto stepped closer. Closer. Naruto took a few baby steps towards the cell door, feeling extremely cautious. The voice calling out to him was extremely creepy and, even though the sane part of his mind told him to turn and run, the curious part wanted to know who or what the source of the voice was. That's better, the voice said as a set of eyes behind the cell door opened up, revealing slitted, crimson-red orbs. The creepy red eyes then looked downward and stared straight at Naruto. Frightened, Naruto backed up a few steps, as if preparing to run. Oh, don't be like that. After all, is that any way to treat someone who's known you since the day you were born? The creature that the eyes belonged to called out in that same booming voice that had led Naruto to this spot. WHWH who? WHWH who or WH what are you? Naruto asked, shaking with fear. All in due time, Kit. All in due time. The voice called before the scene in front of Naruto's eyes faded away. The last thing Naruto saw as everything faded away was the silhouette of a massive fox with 9 tails in the darkness behind the cell door. Chapter 3. It's good so far, besides the few mistakes. Bastard should be bastard. But I must ask, where's Hinata in all this? LOL. Keep on truckin'. Glad to hear it. And again, blame WordPad. Chapter 4. LOL me likey. Hinata's pretty damn funny in this one. Keep up the good work. FYI, last chapter I added this FIC to a C2. Thanks, I felt good about making her that way. Thanks for that. Chapter 5. Aw, I'm crying now, at how happy Irika managed to make Naruto. Maybe there will be an accident involving Hinata and some mistletoe next chapter? Keep up the good work. At least someone acknowledged the hard work I put into that moment. By the way, sorry, not this time. Chapter 7. Awesome. Loved it, man. Keep it up. Blushes a little he. Glad you loved it. Don't worry, I will. Adengo 7:14. Somehow, I believe that Sasuke will still bully Naruto.
Está señor correcta.
Spanish for, you recollect, sir. Kagebiju. This is a very epic chapter that, for sure, and Sasuke got what coming to him, but I hope he gets more as well. I hoped it would turn out that way. And don't worry, he will. Silent Singer 948. That beating was awesome. Way to go, Naruto. I suggest skipping to graduation. Can't wait for the next chapter. Thank you. I was trying to make it awesome. By the way, I was already planning on it. Also, Bo's low, I'm sorry if this chapter took longer than you'd have liked. Nico Kid. Wow, nicely done. At first I was rather hesitant to read a story with a shy Naruto, and then I find out that it is going to have a bold Hinata, which I only like if it is gradual most of the time. However, luckily I stuck with it, and now the story flows rather smoothly with their roles. I especially like how you have Shino in the story as a main character. He seems to be really underused in stories. Glad to hear that you think all that. I thought Shino was pretty underused as well. Chapter 1 first. This is really good. I like FICs where Hinata is nit shy. Well done, keep up the good work. Happy to see you like it. Chapter 1 second. Wow, I love this PLZ update. Alright, but why'd you use the same sig as the last person?
Rasakra Nara.
Very good. And I really enjoyed it. Keep up the good work. You know me, when it comes to my readers, I aim to please.
Akuma-kun.
Not bad, could use a bit more detail. Good job so far. By the way, I've updated my story and put a couple more out. Yeah. I'm gonna correct chapters 1 to 4 and repost them soon. By the way, thanks for keeping me in the loop. And another thing, I never got to copy and paste the chapters of that FIC I adopted from you. Mind sending M to me? Shadow Spirit 5. Author is laughing so hard he can't breath. We'll be back in a moment. Okay, I'm back. That was totally awesome. Naruto went total genocide mode on those goons. That was Naruto channeling the spirit of Ururu Tsurugiya right there. Awesome job, hope to see more of that in the future. Glad you enjoyed that because you won't see him get like that very often. But you'll still see it. But I may have him get like that again soon before it becomes infrequent. Shadow Elf 144. OMG, yes, finally another one of these. Thank you, author. Finally a story where Skoki gets the every loving a sheet beat out of him in a fun and interesting way. Thank you. I feel your pain. It's actually really tough to find a good Naruhina FIC where that happens. Hinata Girl 0805. I like it. You should continue. Update soon. Looks like I've got a new fan. Sweet. No worries, the updates should pick up soon. Heavy Wolf Blade. Great concept, I love the read more, keep it up. I'm not sure I follow you. Azakajam. It's awesome. I like the idea of a timid Naruto, and the fighting scene was good. I was relieved in a bad way. When the villagers were punished, XD can't wait to read the rest. Thanks for saying so. Reviews like yours give me more confidence in my abilities, and that is something I definitely need more of. Alpha 142. An interesting story, a good one as well. The concept behind the change makes sense, and it is actually a rather refreshing change of pace. Though I'm not sure I like Hinata being the brash one. That's just my personal taste, though. You've done a rather good job of pulling it off in any case, and I admit it would be hard to get anywhere if both Hinata and Naruto were shy. Overall, I only saw a few grammatical that could easily be found if you read over it again, but that happens to almost everyone. Great job so far. Thanks for the compliments. I know what you mean.
Personally, I prefer shy Hinata over brash Hinata.
But it had to be done. I know. I'm trying to find time to go back and correct them, but I'm just so busy right now. Naruto, Life of a Shy Jinchuriki. Chapter 8. Graduation Day. It was an early morning in Konoha. The sun was starting to come out, the birds were singing, and Naruto was in his boxers, just waking up from another dream about Hinata. It was one of his usual dreams when it came to the Hyuga heiress. And, as usual, Naruto had no clue why he had it about her. It's only a dream. Hinata-chan would never feel that way about me. Get your head out of the sea clouds. And Naruto. Naruto thought as he started to cry, thinking back to his dream. Naruto's dream begins. Naruto was training with Kiba and the others in Training Ground 5 like they usually do. Naruto was sparring one-on-one against Kiba, trying desperately to land a blow on his feral-looking friend. But every time he threw a punch or aimed a kick, Kiba would easily evade it.
Small Naruto.
I know you can do better than this, Kiba said, dodging a punch Naruto aimed at his stomach. But Kiba-kun, I don't want to dash. I know you don't want to hurt me, but you're so afraid of hurting me that you hold back too much.
Small Naruto.
Cut loose and go all out, Kiba told him. Naruto was still unsure, but decided to give it a shot. But before they could get started again, they heard someone call to them.
Hey, Naruto-kun.
Guys, over here. They turned and saw Hinata walking over to them. Oh great, her. Kiba, be nice. Naruto stuttered, extremely nervous about the fact that Hinata, his crush, was walking towards him. Hey guys, can I talk to Naruto-kun for a little bit? Alone. Hinata asked, putting emphasis on alone. Not waiting for an answer, she grabbed Naruto's hand and dragged him to another part of the training grounds. As soon as they were far enough away, Hinata turned to Naruto. Hinata-chan. What did you want to talk to me about? Naruto stuttered nervously. Naruto-kun, I know how you feel about me, Hinata said. What? I don't can know what you're talking about. Hinata-chan? Naruto said, feeling extremely nervous and praying that she believe him. Don't try to deny it, Naruto-kun. You're a bad liar, Hinata told him. Really don't you understand? Hinata-chan dash. But Hinata cut Naruto off by placing her finger on his lips. Now then, let me show you how I feel about you, Hinata said before she started moving closer to Naruto. Naruto's heart was beating so fast and so loudly that he could practically hear it, and his heart would only beat faster as Hinata drew closer to him. Naruto's dream ends. Naruto would always wake up from his dream just before Hinata's lips made contact with his. And, upon awakening, Naruto would feel happy about his dream, then sad when it finally set in that was all it was. As soon as Naruto thought this, he'd begin to feel depressed, thinking that his dreams were the only place where he'd ever have a chance of being with his crush. And no time to feel sad. I've got to get ready for graduation, Naruto thought as he started to get dressed. Instead of one of the orange and blue jumpsuits he used to wear, Naruto put on a fishnet shirt and black pants with a matching black shirt. Naruto's friends told him that these clothes suited him better, but he wasn't convinced. As soon as Naruto got dressed, he ate breakfast, brushed his teeth, tried and failed to comb his spiky hair down, and locked his front door before leaving for the academy. Naruto stepped outside just in time to see his friends arrive.
Hey, Naruto-kun.
Ready to go, Kiba called to him. Already, Kiba-kun, Naruto called back. This is it. Today I graduate, I hope, Naruto thought as he and his friends made their way to the academy. At the academy, Hinata was pacing back and forth in the classroom, waiting for Naruto and the others to show up. Since they needed to find a good spot to where they could all be close by in case someone tried to pick on Naruto, they agreed to arrive early. They'd better not keep me waiting, she thought irritably. Hey, Hinata-chan, good to see I'm not the only one here, Hinata heard someone behind her say. Hinata turned around and was greeted with the sight of Ino smiling at her. Hey, Ino-chan, Hinata replied happily. Ever since they talked, and Naruto had forgiven her, Ino and Hinata had been getting along a lot better. In fact, Ino had become one of Hinata's best friends. Aside from Naruto, of course. Not only that, but, at Ino's suggestion, Hinata decided to grow her hair out. It was now so long that it reached halfway down her back. So, when do you think the guys will get here, Ino-chan? I'd say in about 3, 2, 1, Ino said, counting down and then pointing at the door at 0. As soon as Ino hit 0 and pointed at the door, it swung open to reveal Kiba, Naruto, and the others. Wow, I will never understand how you do that, Hinata said in surprise, seeing as this was at least the 1,000th time that Ino had done that and been right on the money. The weird thing is, I don't understand it either, Ino said as she started walking towards the guys. Wow, didn't see that one coming, Hinata said, but didn't look where she was going, and landed on top of Naruto. Naruto opened his eyes, not realizing he'd closed them, and saw nothing but lavender gray tinted white. That color seemed so familiar. Not only that, but he felt something soft pressed against his lips. It took him a couple of seconds to figure out what was happening. Wait, that's H Hinata's EIC color. Naruto thought nervously before looking down. As Naruto looked down, he saw that Hinata was pressed up against him, and figured out that the thing that was pressing against his lips was Hinata's lips. Hinata-chan is SHSH's, Naruto thought as he started feeling extremely lightheaded. Hinata jumped off of Naruto as soon as she came to her senses. Sorry about that, and Naruto-kun, Hinata said nervously, feeling a little awkward. Naruto didn't hear a thing she said. He was too busy focusing on how it felt to have Hinata pressed against him. And having her lips pressed against his, Naruto felt a shiver go up his spine.
Naruto-kun.
Are you okay? Hinata asked, leaning in close. As soon as Hinata said this, Naruto snapped out of his daze and saw how close she was. Unable to hold on any longer, Naruto passed out on the floor. Later, Hinata was pacing back and forth nervously. After Naruto fainted, she got chewed out by Kiba while Shikamaru and the others tried to wake Naruto up. Then, right after Naruto woke up, Irika and Mizuki entered the classroom and the exam started. Everyone else in the class had already finished the jutsu portion of the exam and either passed or failed. Now, Hinata and the others were waiting for Naruto to emerge from the examination room. Would you cut it out, Hyuga? Your pacing is pissing me off. Too, Kiba said irritably. I can't help it. What if Naruto-kun doesn't pass? Hinata said. What makes you think he won't? He passed the written, weapons, and taijutsu portions of the exam. Why are you so nervous about this one? Shikamaru said lazily. You know as well as I do that Naruto-kun's chakra control isn't exactly the best. What if that causes him to fail the last portion of the exam? Huh. Hinata said angrily. And you're so worried why exactly? Ino said teasingly. As soon as Ino said that, Hinata blushed a little. And no reason, she said quickly. Ino smirked at Hinata's reaction. Oh, I believe there is. Does the Whittle Hyuga Highwis have a kwoosh on Naruto-kun? Ino asked in an annoying baby talk voice.
No.
Hinata said, blushing harder. I think you do. No, I don't. Yes, you do. No, I don't, Hinata shouted. As soon as Hinata said that, the door to the examination room swung open. Everyone turned their heads and saw Naruto using the doorknob to hold himself up and was panting. What's up, Ruto-kun? Why ya out of breath? Kiba asked.
Ipe.
Naruto panted out, trying to catch his breath. Before Naruto could catch his breath and finish, Irika showed up behind him.
Naruto-kun.
Yes, sensei? You were so excited you forgot this, Irika said happily as he handed Naruto his Hitai 8. Naruto blushed slightly as he accepted his well-earned Hitai 8 from his former sensei. Thank you, Irika sensei. Naruto responded as Irika walked back into the examination room and Naruto's friends started to crowd around him to congratulate him. But before they could start praising their shy friend, they heard a stuck-up, arrogant voice ring through from nearby. So the dobe passed, eh? Either Konoha's shinobi standards have dropped or a blind squirrel just found a nut. The friends all turned their heads towards the source of the voice and saw Sasuke leaning against the nearby wall with his arms crossed across his chest, wearing his usual arrogant smirk. "What did you say, punk?" Kiba growled. "You heard me, mutt." Before Kiba could retort, Hinata stepped forward. She was wearing a sweet smile on her face, but it was easy to see that she was using it to hide her anger. A blind squirrel finding a nut? Well then I guess I'm related to a blind squirrel, Hinata said, leaving everyone. "What the hell are you dash?" Sasuke was interrupted by Hinata kicking him in his phallus. Pause can't even bend over, Sasuke said lowly, even though his voice sounded very high and squeaky. "See? I just found two," Hinata said with a smirk. "You bitch," Sasuke whispered before groaning in pain and falling to the floor. "Now that that's taken care of, I say we go celebrate with some dash." "No way. You eat way too many cinnamon rolls, Hinata-chan. I say we let Naruto-san decide this time," Ino said as she turned to face Naruto. "You, well, I know somewhere we can go," Naruto said, blushing slightly from the attention. "Lead the way." As Naruto and his friends walked away, a certain Chunin was scheming. "The demon brat passed. I guess I'll have to resort to plan B. Actually, I think I prefer it this way. If I go with plan B, I'll see that little monster even more miserable than I would if I used plan A." He thought sinisterly. Several minutes later, with Naruto and the others. "Are we there yet, Naruto-san?" Ino groaned in irritation. Almost. You said that 3 minutes ago." A few more minutes later, Naruto and his friends arrived at their destination. "We're here," he said. Naruto's friends looked confused until Naruto turned and walked into a stall that had a sign that read, "Ichiraku Ramen," in Japanese. A girl of about 15 years of age, with long, brown hair, was standing at the counter with her back to the entrance. "Excuse me, please," Naruto said, getting the girl's attention. The girl turned around with her eyes closed and a slight smile on her face. "Welcome to Ichiraku Ramen. How can I help yo, Naruto-kun?" "It's you. It's been quite a while, hasn't it?" the girl said with obvious glee as she opened her eyes and saw Naruto. "Why yes, it has I am San," Naruto said embarrassedly. "Hehe, still as formal as always, I see. Hey San, check out who's here." I am shouted back towards the kitchen. Soon, an old man with squinty eyes wearing a white uniform walked in from the kitchen as Naruto's friends entered the stall.
Hey, Naruto-kun.
"Good to see you again." Thank you, Tituchi-san." "Oh come on. There's no need to be so formal with me. You are my best customer after all." Sorry." "No need to apologize. Now, do you want the usual?" Tucci said as he pulled out a pad and pen. "You, yes thank you. But, see could you please serve my friends first?" Naruto said as he gestured towards them. "Your friends? Well, this is a first. You usually come here alone. What's the occasion?" Tucci asked. "We just passed our graduation exams today," Hinata said loudly as she pumped one of her fists into the air. "Really? Then congratulations. Now, let's see here," Tucci said as he looked all of them over, starting with Kiba. Tan skin. A red triangle-shaped mark on each cheek, brown spiky hair, cute white puppy on his head, and slightly larger than average canine teeth. "You must be Kiba." "Yup, that's me. And this is my partner Akamaru," Kiba said, indicating himself then Akamaru. As soon as Kiba confirmed this, Tucci moved on. Each time Tucci described one of them, he'd be dead on. This was, of course, starting to get really weird to all of Naruto's friends. Finally, Tucci made it to Hinata. Creamy white skin that looks as soft as a baby's bottom, long, beautiful, silky dark indigo hair, eyes that resemble two full moons, only more enchanting, but with a mischievous glint in them. You must be Hinata-chan, Tucci said teasingly as his eyes darted in Naruto's direction. As Tucci continued his description of Hinata, Naruto blushed deeper and deeper. How do you know about us? Hinata asked. And what's up with how you described Hinata-chan? Ino asked, completely confused. Naruto-kun here talks about you all every time he comes by. And when it comes to Hinata, my daughter, and I can't get him to shut up about her. Right? I am Chan, Tucci said. Yup, with how much he goes on and on about her. I'm surprised Naruto-kun remembers to breathe. Every time, they all asked in shock before turning their gazes towards the shy blonde. Every time, and the ways I described you all were exactly what Naruto-kun said when he first described you. Really? Hinata exclaimed. Word for word, Tucci said before returning to the kitchen. As soon as Tucci said this, Hinata looked Naruto in the face. When Hinata made eye contact with him, Naruto blushed so horribly that he was starting to turn purple and averted his gaze. Does Naruto-kun? Could he? Hinata thought with a slight blush. Now then, how about those orders? I said, snapping Hinata out of her daze. I guess we'll just have whatever Naruto-kun's having. Hinata replied. Okay, it will be a while for your orders to be ready, so please be patient. I said and left to make the order. So guys, what do you think? Hinata said. About what, Hinata-chan? Ino asked. About the teams. Whose team do you think you'll be on? Obviously, I'll end up on the same team as these two, Ino said, pointing to Chuji and Shikamaru. What makes you say that? Members of our clans always get put on the same team, which I think is really troublesome, Shikamaru said lazily, only for Ino to punch him in the back of his head. What about you, Naruto-san? Ino asked. You, well, I don't really know. I bet I know whose team you'd like to be on, Ruto-kun, Kiba said, trying to make Naruto blush. Which he did. Naruto blushed so harshly that he looked as red as an apple. You want to be on H-, he tried to say before Shino cupped his hand over Kiba's mouth. Whose team does Naruto-kun want to be on? Hinata asked, genuinely curious. Naruto looked at Kiba with a begging look on his face, as if he was trying to say, please don't tell her. You, never mind, Kiba said as soon as Shino removed his hand. As soon as Kiba said that, Ayam and Tucci came back, each of them carrying 5 large bowls of ramen. As soon as Hinata and the others saw this, their lower jaws dropped to the counter. That's what Naruto-san orders every time he comes here? Ino exclaimed. Actually, this is only the first round. Naruto-kun's record is 24 large bowls of ramen in one sitting, Ayam said matter-of-factly. As soon as they heard this, all their jaws nearly broke through the counter. The 6 of them then looked at Naruto in amazement. Is that true, Naruto-kun? Hinata asked, to which Naruto just nodded shyly. Wow. And people say members of my clan eat a lot, Chuji said as they all grabbed a bowl. As they started to eat, Hinata had a thought. Could Naruto-kun have a crush on me? Me? The loudest kunoichi in our class, she thought with a blush. Hinata looked over at Naruto and caught the shy blonde boy staring at her with a blush on his face. As soon as she caught him, Naruto blushed harder and looked away quickly. Guess that's a definite maybe. As soon as Hinata thought this, someone tapped Naruto on the shoulder. The shy blonde turned around and saw it was Mizuki. Hello, Mizuki-sensei, Naruto said. Hey Naruto, could I have a word with you real quick? Mizuki said with a fakish smile. Naruto nodded and walked out of the stall. Mizuki led Naruto a few feet away before Naruto asked the question he wanted to ask.
E Mitsuki Zenzai?
What did you want to talk to me about? Mizuki then turned to face Naruto and looked at him. I know a way for you to be on Hinata's team. Naruto blushed at this. What why you dash? Don't bother trying to deny it. Only an idiot would miss the fact that you have a crush on her.
I acaba se crush on Hinata Suisa-chan?
So that's why I've been feeling this way around her. Naruto thought in realization. Alright, how can I be on Hinata-chan's team? Naruto asked nervously. I'm glad you asked, Mizuki said with a smirk. Later that night, Naruto was in a field with a large scroll with his goal clear in his mind. Flashback, an hour or so earlier. Naruto was talking to the Hokage in his house with the aged Hokage standing before him in concern, trying to get some answers. So let me get this straight. Mizuki told you that if you managed to get a hold of the Forbidden Scroll of Sealing and learn a jutsu from it, you'd be able to pick your team. You wanted to believe it was true, but thought something about the situation was amiss. So you came here to my house to confirm it with me. Did I miss anything, Naruto-kun? Sarutobi asked.
Anno, ho Hokage-sama. Naruto answered nervously.
Naruto-kun, I'm proud of you for thinking ahead. The truth is that what Mizuki told you was a lie. He was probably trying to get you to steal the scroll so that he could kill you and get it. Naruto gulped audibly at this. What should we do? Hokage-sama? The aged Hokage scrunched his eyes up in concentration and began to think. A minute later, a smirk appeared on his face. I think I've got it. We'll set a trap for Mizuki. You, Naruto-kun, will steal the Forbidden Scroll of Sealing, meet up with Mizuki at the location he described, and then stall him until the search party arrives to capture him. But you may actually have to learn a jutsu from it, as a way of making sure you have a way to stall him, Sarutobi said confidently. Naruto got a little nervous at this. Seeing this, the Hokage knelt down to the nervous boy in front of him and tried to reassure him. I know you're nervous, Naruto-kun, but I know you can handle this. You can't let fear rule your life. A little more relaxed, Naruto looked up. Okay, I'll do it, Naruto said with a little confidence. Flashback end. Well, I may as well get to work, Naruto said as he looked at the scroll. As soon as Naruto looked at the inside of the scroll, he noticed an odd seal.
Ashu?
What's this? Later. Iruka landed right in front of Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki, I am severely disappointed in you, Iruka yelled with his big head jutsu. Iruka-sensei? Oh no. He's not supposed to be here. Just what were you thinking? Stealing the Forbidden Scroll of Sealing. I'd expect a stupid move like that from Hinata or Kiba, but not you. What could have possibly possessed you to? Iruka trailed off suddenly, then pushed Naruto out of the way. As soon as he pushed Naruto out of the way, Iruka was hit with a barrage of kunai. Well, what do we have here? A voice spoke out. Naruto and Iruka looked in the direction the voice came from and saw Mizuki standing on a branch with 2 giant shuriken on his back. Naruto, give me the scroll, Mizuki said. Don't give it to him, Naruto. Naruto looked Mizuki directly in the eyes and saw nothing but anger and hate being directed at him. Shaking in fear, Naruto looked to the scroll, then to Iruka. And no, Naruto said, looking back at Mizuki. What did you just say? Mizuki said angrily. Why you heard me? I'm not giving you the scroll. Hokage-sama told me the truth. Why you were lying to me to try and get me to steal the SC scroll for you so that why you could get your grubby peepaws on it and frame me for the deed. All in one fella swoop. Naruto yelled. Oh, he did he? Well, there's one thing he still hasn't told you, Mizuki said. What? Naruto asked in surprise, but with a hint of curiosity. Have you ever wondered why the entire village hates you? And not the entire V village. Hokage-sama doesn't dash. The old man? Ha! He's just using you to try and make you loyal enough to the village to give your life for it. Besides, he still hasn't told you why they hate you. Why? Why do they hate me? I'll tell you why. No, don't, Irika shouted. 12 years ago, you know about the Kyuubi no Yuko attacking the village, then being defeated by the Yondaime Hokage, right? Naruto was confused. What does that have to do with why so many of the V villagers hate me? Naruto wondered. You look confused. Guess I shouldn't be surprised, seeing as that rule has been enforced like it has. What rule? Naruto asked. A new rule that was created for this village since that incident. A rule that you were never meant to be told of. Mizuki continued. Our rule IW was never meant to be told of? Why? What is the rule? The day that the Kyuubi attacked the village, what do you suppose happened to it when the Yondaime beat it? Why Yondaime-sama killed it, alright? Wrong. Oh, he couldn't kill it. No man alive could ever dream of killing it. So, since he couldn't kill it, how did he beat it? I'll tell you how. He sealed it within you. You are the Kyuubi no Yuko, the beast that nearly destroyed Konoha 12 years ago. Stop it. You are the fox in human form, the same beast that killed so many Konoha shinobi and took Irika's parents from him. And as for your so-called friends, the only reason they even put up with you is because they're under orders from their clans. Naruto flinched and grew wide-eyed with shock at this. Their clans all want to use you for your power, you little demon. They never really cared about you. Naruto started to get teary-eyed from this. And as for Irika, do I even have to say it? Naruto lifted his head and looked at Mizuki. So you finally get it, huh? That's right. Irika hates you, just like the rest of the villagers. Naruto shut his eyes tight from the pain of what he was hearing and tried to cover his ears. It can't be true. It just can't be true, Naruto thought as he hit the ground, landing on his butt. No one ever really loved you, and no one ever will, Mizuki said as he drew one of the giant shuriken from his back and began to spin it. Naruto looked up to see Mizuki spinning the shuriken, getting ready to throw it. So just embrace it and die, he said as he threw the shuriken at Naruto. Naruto crawled away a short distance, then stopped. It's be better teach this way. Ish should V died years ago anyway, Naruto thought as he waited for the shuriken to hit. Naruto heard a stab, a grunt of pain, and the sound of blood splattering. He opened his eyes to see that he was fine. Naruto turned around and blood dripped onto his cheek. He saw Irika over him with blood coming from his mouth and the shuriken embedded in his back. Irika, sensei. Why? Because I grew up without parents. Just like you, I always acted like a fool and messed up just so that someone would give me some form of acknowledgement. I don't see you as the Kyuubian with
Naruto-kun.
I see you as a boy who's been treated so badly by those he protects every day he's alive, Irika said, coughing up blood as he spoke. Sensei. Naruto and Irika heard someone start laughing. They turned and saw that it was Mizuki. He ha ha ha. How touching. I could just puke from the mushy crap you're spewing, Irika. He laughed, mocking Irika. Naruto was getting angry now. He didn't mind if people insulted him and hurt him, but he'd be damned if he'd let them do it to someone he cared about. Shut up. Mizuki didn't hear him and just kept laughing while drawing another shuriken from his back. Suddenly, the temperature in the clearing seemed to drop about 20 degrees, sending a chill up the Chunin trader's spine. Wah! What the devil's going on? He asked, looking around. Mizuki soon discovered that the chill was coming from Naruto. You've made several mistakes tonight, Mizuki, Naruto said in a quiet but extremely cold tone. A chill went up Mizuki's spine when he heard this. Why you lied to me and tried to use me for your own selfish ends, believing that I'd be stupid enough to fall for your scam. The temperature seemed to drop a few more degrees, causing Mizuki to shiver. You tried to make me turn my back on the people I care about. Tried to make me hate the people who saved me from my own loneliness. Naruto shouted angrily with a large amount of blue chakra swirling around him wildly as he made a hand sign. And now, you pay the price.
Kage bunsin no jutsu.
Naruto said as smoke erupted from his body. As soon as the smoke cleared, Mizuki was face to face with an open field full of pissed-off Narutos. Oh, Mizuki said in fear. Get ready, all the Narutos said. For the next 10 minutes, all that could be heard ringing through the forest was punches, kicks, and cries of pain from a certain traitor. 10 minutes later, Mizuki was almost literally black and blue with bruises and was out like a light. Naruto dusted his hands off shyly and turned to face Iruka, who was making a fish face that would make a mackerel turn green with envy.
Iruka-sensei.
Did I go too far? Naruto asked shyly, having gotten his earlier anger out of his system by beating the tar out of the source. You? Iruka said dumbly, too stunned to speak. Naruto gently nudged Iruka, knocking him out of his stupor.
I'm sorry.
What did you say earlier, Naruto-kun? Iruka asked. Did I go too far? Naruto asked again. I don't think so. Now, what do you say we tie Mizuki up and take him with us to Hokage-sama's office? Then return that scroll and get some ramen, Iruka said to his favorite student. Okay. Naruto said shyly as the two of them tied the traitor up and dragged him to the Hokage's office by the rope.